Okay, looks like I've got some kind of technical issue here. Um, I don't know if anyone can see me. What exactly happened here? I don't know. Let me see what is going on. Can anyone hear me, or am I all by myself? I don't see any activity. Okay, I see some activity, but why can't my camera change? I've got some OBS issues again. What else is new? Let me see if I can get this to work. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Let's see. Hmm. Okay. All right. Is it working? I see something, but I'm not sure what view you're seeing of me. Let me go down here. Oh, sorry about this. I have no idea why my computer is deciding to torture me. It shouldn't. Okay. Let me try something else.
Okay. Can you still see me, or did it go off again? All right, let me see if this is doing anything. Okay, there we are. I run into some kind of weird problem. I tried to start the OBS, and then it kept saying it wouldn't stream. Then I had to restart it. I don't know what's going on. My computer is extremely old, and, it's not that old. It's probably, 7, 8 years. Okay, good. So you see me here in my room. I have another camera view, thanks to one of my viewers that was nice enough to send me a webcam. So I have that outside, but sometimes this thing just doesn't react like it should. Let me just see if this thing will switch, and it's not. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I try to figure it out, but I'm dealing with some pretty basic equipment. It's like going back in time. It's like one of my viewers said, well, this would be like if YouTube existed in the 1960s or 70s. That would be Rick's live stream. So anyway, okay, let's see what comments we have. Let's see who's here, and let's see how many people we actually have. And I have no idea where this count is, and it disappeared. But I see that Carnivore Muscle was the first. Present, glorious retro thumbnail, lovely. Well, that thumbnail was made by DC David, from DC's channel. You ought to check him out if you haven't seen him. And United Carnivore said greetings from Tampa Bay. Sandy Blythe said yay. And Papa Carnivore Peter says hi, fellow carnivore quacks. And Father of United Carnivore, good morning all from Chile. Chile? Okay. Melbourne, morning in Florida. And Sandra says evening from your future. There you go. Rosie Red, good morning, shivering in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Well, it's not shivering here. It's actually quite nice here. It was upper 50s, just perfect. Terry Sue, good morning. I'll be listening from bed. And then I said good morning, and then Jiffy said good morning, everyone, from Georgia. And good morning from South Florida to you. What's the holdup? Pork water boiling over? No, actually, I haven't had breakfast. I ran into another technical issue. My stove has no gas. So I don't have time to go out there yet. I'll do it after the stream. I think I may have a clog. Sometimes I get a cockroach that gets into the gasifier. I had one clog the line. I turned on the stove. There was no gas. Tried to light it. Nothing coming out. I checked the inner tube. I had a weight on it. There's something in there. I mean, there's definitely gas in the system, but it's not cooking, so I have to deal with that next. And Brooke Graves, good morning, 5 a.m. in California. That's good. And Mark Booz, good morning. I say good morning to you. We hear you. Hello, good morning. And Thomas Target Prime Rim says, hi, Rick. And I say hi in return. Now, let's see. And Lori's Carnivore Story, there you are. Yes. And I said, oh, you see me? And the father, okay, you're on a carnivore. Sandra McDonald, Terry Sue, Lori's Carnivore Story. You always figure it out, Rick. Well, yes, I try. But again, I'm dealing with a limited amount of equipment. It says 21 people here. Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad. Now, I'm going to try to open another window, maybe, and put it on the other monitor. I actually have two monitors. I have the monitor that's built into the computer, and then I have my TV set, which I never watch TV on. So I ran an HDMI cable over to that to see it. Okay, and Booby Goats is here. Well, hello, and morning, everyone, from Middle Tennessee. And again, if you haven't checked out our channel, check it out. And Lambs is here. Good morning. And let's see. Yeah, we have a lot of them. Now, I've been doing a lot of playing around. I actually installed an extension for Google Chrome that would allow the comments to come up and be highlighted. And I made a little window to put in OBS so the comments would pop up, just like all those people that can pay $50 a month for StreamYard. Problem is, when I went to start it, it didn't work. And then my camera was frozen. I created different scenes, but they won't change. So I'm kind of stuck. I have no idea what is going on. Okay, oh no, breakfast is important. Hope the gas issue gets fixed. It will. You know, like many people say, I always find a solution for everything. And Lori's Carnivore Story says the sound is darn near perfect today. Well, as you know, I took my mixer apart. I replaced 4 capacitors. That's where the interference was. And I was able to get that going. I have another treat because when I was cleaning up my stuff, I found the microphone that I used when I had my original videos. And if any of you are familiar with me, you know that everything I have is old, or what you call retro. So what I did, when I was a kid many years ago, I picked up at a yard sale a Shure 55S microphone that I think it came from a church or something like that, and it was dropped. It was broken. The rubber mounts were bad. And I remember I had that thing for years, and then eventually I figured out how to make new rubber mounts out of the same material that you use to patch tires with, using a soldering iron and some charcoal and all that. So I fixed the silly thing. And I used it for a while, and then I lost it. Well, when I was going through my stuff, I actually discovered it. Now, I'm going to have to reconfigure the system because, as you know, I'm using a condenser capacitor microphone right now, which uses phantom power. This is a dynamic mic, which does not use power. So I have the other mixer, which is actually a little better than this one. It even has a little equalizer setting on it. As you probably know, I use no audio processing and no video processing. So whatever you see from me is unfiltered and real. You have to look at my ugly face and lard-covered hair because that's the way that I normally look. And unlike a lot of the vegans, I don't use a filter to try to look younger. So you're going to see all the imperfections that I have, which is normal. But, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And Lori's Carnivore Story also says 4 capacitors. Wow, yes. I think a lot of it, years ago, there was some kind of mix-up with some of these capacitor formulas. And also, you have to remember, all of my audio equipment comes from either trash pile, side of the road, the dump, or a yard sale. And who knows how this stuff was used. I'm sure that some DJ at one time had it, was using it for parties or whatever. And then eventually he either got another job or just the thing started acting up and they threw it out. And of course, before it hits the landfill, anything, if it's lucky enough, it hits my truck or my house or my bicycle or whatever I happen to be on. So that's pretty much the story behind this. Well, I'm glad that it is working. Now, I'm sad that I can't get the scene to work. I click the scene. Oh, there we go. Can you see the scene? It's just like a Windows desktop. Okay, that is working. I can't believe it. All right. I think you people are over here helping me because when I was doing this on my own, it was acting really weird. But now that you're here, it's working. So that's a good thing. Now, you might say, well, why in the world would Rick want to have a desktop scene? And I'll tell you why. I wanted to share some images and let's see. Good job on your yard work. Well, thank you. I've been working around my yard, as you know, and I burned a lot of yard waste. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, which I'm sure all of you are because I'm not a very popular YouTuber, I have about 3,300 subscribers, and that's after 17 years on YouTube. Although I have to admit, the first 14 years of YouTube really wasn't a whole lot. You know, from 2007 to 2010, I was making several videos. My channel got deleted, then it was restored with most of the videos gone. And then I was dormant until 2021 when I started posting a couple of videos. It really wasn't until 2022 in August when I was interviewed for the first time that you carnivore people inspired me. And I've been thinking about it for ever since then. And I've had people ask me, well, Rick, you know, you were off YouTube all this time. Why all of a sudden did you come back to YouTube? And it wasn't because of the whole influencer thing, because as you know, from, the 2007 when I started on YouTube to maybe 2020. I mean, YouTube was there, but it was mostly for gamers and some of the kids and stuff like that. That's where the influencers were. And you have to realize that YouTube as a marketing tool appeals mostly to the younger people, the ones under 25, because they're usually the easiest ones to convince to buy products that are overpriced and pretty much useless. So that's one of those things that I noticed. But after 2020, when we were all forced to stay home, at least they wanted us to stay home, I didn't. I was still out and about doing my thing. But it gave me a chance to spend more time on YouTube. And again, I couldn't spend a lot of time on YouTube when I was taking care of Mom, because if I would sit here with you guys on YouTube, within 10-15 minutes, Mom would be yelling for me. And I set up an intercom phone where she could call me, and she'd pick up the phone. And, you know, every time that I had gone to visit a friend or I was trying to work, that phone would ring. So it was a real challenge. But on the other hand, I have to admit that it was interesting. Now, let's see. I don't see any comments coming in. I hope I didn't get disconnected. That would really be nasty if I got disconnected. I wonder if I could open an additional instance of this. Let's see. If you still hear me and somebody wants to say something, please do, because I have a feeling I may have been disconnected. Oh, there we go. Okay, I guess everybody's just bored. Everybody's falling asleep. You know, I can't imagine anybody would want to waste their time watching. I think a lot of times what people do is they might listen, and that's why I try to make the audio good. I'm not too concerned about the video, because if you're like me, a lot of times I'm working and I try to get some Wi-Fi somewhere and set up where I can listen to audio. I use an FM transmitter, and I use one of those, you know, cheap FM radios you used to be able to get from the dollar store, which now you can get them from like the other place. What used to be a dollar store now is what they call a Five Below, which is a $5 store. So inflation is up 5 times from what it was years ago. But I just pop one of those in there with the little earpieces, and I can listen. And that's quite nice. Okay, so let's see. Mark Harmon, there we go. Another excellent YouTuber. Check his channel out. This guy is a beast, I'll tell you. I mean, when you see the condition he's in, I have some really good subscribers, and I have to admit, even though I don't have a lot of subscribers, there are people there that I would consider, you know, the highest quality, and I'd like to meet every one of you over time. I think it'd be kind of nice. Let's see, Where's Carlos? I've been up since 3:30, so I'm already feeling chatty, unlike maybe some others. Yeah, that's it. Now, as you know, I wake up between 7 and 7:30 every day. I go to bed at 11:30 at night, so I usually get about 7 hours sleep. Now, way back when I was taking care of my mom, I was surviving on 4 hours sleep. It was not good. And I have a couple of pictures of myself, which I haven't been able to find. My computer files are in a complete chaos. As you know, it's like my video files and all those goofy old tapes. And I have stuff that goes back. I had a picture that was taken of me by a friend of mine. And it really is shocking that I put on quite a bit of body fat, even though my diet did not change. So this is one of the reasons why I get really upset when people use that term proper human diet. That really bothers me. And the more I hear it, the more upset I get. Because to say that carnivore is the proper human diet, in my opinion, is an insult. And you'd say, well, Rick, you're like the longest term carnivore ever. You're the one person who doesn't like plant foods. And you're right. I hate plant foods. There's no fruit or vegetable that I actually like. The only food that I desire is meat and some dairy. I don't like it. I can tolerate some fruits and vegetables, and I will eat them when I have nothing else to eat. But my priority list is always meat is at the top, then dairy. Well, meat and eggs are at the top. And I haven't had eggs for a month now, thanks to the Federal Reserve's inflation and the messed up economy we live in. But when it comes right down to it, that's what I like. So I know a lot of people, they struggle. They have these processed foods that they have become conditioned to eating. I call them duck food. And a lot of people just can't resist. So they come up with this whole cheat day thing. I'm going to have a cheat day. I'm going to have pizza, and I'm going to have pasta, and I'm going to have all this stuff. And I listen to it, and I'm like, oh, man, a cheat. The whole idea of cheating is to gain an advantage, you know. Think about it when we were in school. Let's say you had a test, and you weren't sure. You wanted to get a good grade on that test, but you didn't know that material, or you were like me, and you had teachers that were sadistic, and they didn't really want to teach you anything. All they wanted to do was just make your life miserable. They gave you a bunch of homework and assignments that were completely unrelated to what was on the test. Now, as you know, I taught at Miami-Dade College for 12 years. And when I gave tests, they were always on the stuff that I put on the test. I put in the classroom. So my idea of a test was to see what students can do. And I had everything from written tests to actual lab tests. Since I taught electronics, I used to tell a lot of the people that wanted employees, I said, look, I could care less if they can do this complicated theory or if they're able to take multiple choice tests and do really well. Yes, we do some problem solving, but a lot of times what I would do, I would get real circuitry and I'd put it in the classroom and I'd have them work as a team. And basically, I had all these devices in the room, they worked as a team, and then each and every student would have to make a report or a description on what they did, even if that student didn't fix the actual problem. He would have to describe to me, and a lot of times I'd get him in front of the room and say, okay, I want to grade you on this test, but you need to explain to me what was wrong with the system and what it took to fix it. And if I had any doubts about their ability, I had other systems set up that I would hand to the student and say, look, you need to fix this. So it was a combination of things. I had the standard written tests that I'd give everybody. If you got an A on that, you got an A for the test. But if you failed the written test, then came the lab test. And I would take the best of the two. So even though my tests were considered to be the most extreme, some of the most difficult in our program, I had a lot of students that got A's. And someone had actually complained one time that I was giving grades to my students. But when I talked to our department chairman and I showed him how he did it, it was just the opposite. He was really impressed. He says, wow. And we were sending people out at the time. We had Southern Bell South, we had Comcast, and FPL was one of our main recipients of our students. And every one of these companies was very happy with the quality of students we were putting out. So the point I'm trying to make is, instead of giving a label like proper human diet, what you need to do, you need to tell people it's not so much about getting everything right. It's more of a question of, can we avoid the things that obviously are bad? So in other words, if you're trying to be healthy, would you start smoking cigarettes? Of course not. Only a complete addict or an idiot would start smoking cigarettes. And I remember years ago, back in the 80s, I knew several guys that they'd work out and they were putting on muscle, but they were smoking cigarettes. And it's like, why in the world would anyone do that? That would be like saying, well, I'm going to restore my car, but every day I'm going to dump mud on top of it. And then I'm going to rub it with a rag to try to get it off. Well, my paint job's going to look like crap in no time, and it's going to be rusted out. Or say, you know what? I love my antique car, but I'm going to drive through the salt water and the beach every day. Well, it's going to fall apart. It may look good for a while, but eventually it'll disintegrate. And I think for many people, they just don't get that. So they say, you know what? I want to cheat. I want to eat this and that. Now, again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. if you want to go ahead and eat duck food, go ahead and eat the duck food. But remember, there's an old saying, there's a high price to low living. And if you're going to eat low quality crap, which is basically filler, you might as well eat cardboard. I mean, think about it. You know, they always joked a lot about the hot dogs having sawdust in them. Well, again, this is pretty much what we're talking about. Fiber. Let me take this thing off my head. I'm pretty confident that the sound is good now. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. It sounds a little different when I have the headphones on. I guess because it excludes the background noise. I'm hearing some wind sounds. But as long as it sounds good on your end, that's the main thing. Okay, let's get back to the comments. And Meaning Wellness, Ellie, hi everybody. Hi from Rick. Booby Goats, I'm waiting on my coffee. Well, I hope the coffee comes out good. I hope it's better than some of the coffee I know that people have made. I had friends used to complain that their wife made terrible coffee. And I said, well, that's easy to do because to me, all coffee is terrible. And BK Belgian Carnivore says, hi, Rick, hi, all. And I say, hello. Haha, I joke with my doc, and I told him that I feel so good. Now I'm going to start smoking again. Oh, there you go. LOL Smoothie. And you know, again, the whole smoking thing, I don't understand. I actually had a couple of my subscribers ask me, you know, when you started the carnivore diet in the 1980s, your diet was to get heart attack, heart disease. Why didn't you start smoking? And the other thing they said is, well, since you wanted to be like the 1950s, and obviously my appearance is pretty much 50s to this day. Look at my hair, look at the clothes I wear. You know, now that doesn't mean that I don't wear other clothes. I mean, I wear some pretty ratty looking stuff when I'm working. You know, you might see me with pants with holes in it and sleeveless shirt or what else, look like somebody from a farm. But whenever I get together with people I like, which is what I'm doing right now, I try to dress at least reasonable. I generally don't wear any shirts that have any kind of sayings or brand names or whatever on it. I'm very much against that. In fact, I even removed the Ford name from my truck because I don't like Ford, even though I drive Fords. So you won't see Ford on my truck, or you know, even the logos there off. In fact, I think I have the one over here. You know, yeah, this actually fell off, but that's off of my truck. So I kept it. You know, I might put that back. Who knows? But really, when it comes down to it, you know, I told him, why didn't I start smoking? The reason I didn't is because, number one, I hate cigarettes. I hate the smell of any kind of smoke. You know, I don't even like smoked meats that much. So anything that's got that burning smell, I don't like. And that's what coffee is to me. When I smell coffee, it makes me think of cigarettes. And I guess because we associated that with the teacher's lounge and the office. So anytime that there was coffee, there was also cigarettes. And the other thing, too, is that I noticed that the people that did smoke, they looked terrible when they got older. And the idea of Rick's heart attack diet is not just to have the heart attack. The whole idea is pretty simple. You want to have the heart attack when you're still young and strong. And the thing is, if you could extend that time out, I mean, if you're going to smoke cigarettes, you're going to look awful in your 50s. And I mean awful. I don't know anybody that smoked that doesn't look horrible. And really what it is their skin sort of shrivels up. You know, it's like paper that's been all crinkled up. And they just look awful. And it's just, that's the way it is. I can't understand it. So to me, I'm thinking, you know, should you start smoking? No. You're going to eat more cholesterol and more fat and more meat. And the only side effect of eating all that meat is that you're going to get, you know, stronger, maybe healthier, I don't know. And then when you do have the heart attack, instead of having that slow decline of like a rusted out car that's been driven through salt water, it's going to be like you're maxed out, you got the nitrous, you got that thing, you're going 6,000 RPM, and then bam, that engine blows, and the whole car just comes apart in different pieces, and, you know, it goes off the road, crashes into a wall, it's totally destroyed. There's nothing you can do with it. Instead of like, you know, the car that's just sort of rusting and falling apart or whatever. Okay, so we have Lori's carnivore story. I agree, coffee often smells like cigarettes, but I'm still addicted to it. And there you go. I grew up with family that smoked, and they could not function without coffee. Exactly. Coffee and a cigarette always seemed to go together when I was younger. I saw people like that all the time. And Polish Mike, which is one of our extreme carnivores, good morning quackers, when you're talking hardcore, that's one of the guys you want to talk to. Booby Goats this morning to him, and he said, did my morning workout, now time to chill with Rick. Going to get some recovery massage later. Huh. Okay. How do you do a recovery massage? Oh, must have a girlfriend. That's probably what it is. My Ford truck signs are staying. I'm a Ford girl from way back. Well, fixed or repaired daily does appeal to some people, or found on road dead, or as the Ford guys always said, first on race day. I said, yeah, first on the trailer when it blew up. I'm just teasing you. You can see I drive 2 Fords. I tell everybody I'd rather drive a Ford than a Mopar in Miami because Fords are disposable. If somebody crashes into you, you're not going to kill them. Because if I had a restored 69 Charger and somebody rear-ended me, that person would probably not make it to the hospital because I would lose my mind. But they crash into the back of my truck or van, it's like, okay. I know you don't have insurance because no one that hits me ever has insurance. But then again, it's not like the end of the world. Now, I am going to collect more Ford stuff. I need to get myself a, what do you call it? I need to get some junkers. I need a junk van. I want to get junk truck, junk parts. So I am going to try to find as many junk Fords as I can because I think I'm going to keep the old truck and there's no reason for it to change it. Okay, and let's see. Sandra McDonald's, my Ford truck signs are staying, okay. Frugal Prepper is here, another one. Check out his channel. Now, although he has promoted the carnivore diet, he's eating a modified carnivore diet, which has some fermented vegetables in it, which is like a friend of mine that was ex-vegan, who is thriving on a meat-based keto diet. So for those of you hardcore carnivores that are doing well, I congratulate you. But for those of you that aren't getting really the results you want on the carnivore diet, you may want to try to switch and put some more plants in your diet. And I'm not saying you have to do it forever, but I do believe that many people, in fact, I think most people would benefit from plants from time to time. The thing is, I'm not saying turn into Dr. Greger or what's the other one? Barnard, Neil Barnard, his buddy. But one of the most important things to do is to be flexible. And if you can tolerate some plant material and it doesn't bother you, and it's whole plants, and it's not something processed, you don't want anything that comes with an ingredients list. That's a no-no. But in a way, I believe that fermented foods are actually slightly carnivore, because if you think about it, how does a cow work? Cow eats grass or whatever else you give it, and it uses bacteria to break that down. It's turning carbohydrates, which, by the way, are the main thing that plants are made out of, into fats. So think about it. Now, some people have histamine issues and they can't eat fermented plants, but I do believe that for a lot of people, and these are historical natural foods, I know a lot of people that have lived into their 80s and 90s that eat a lot of plant material. So I know that a lot of the popular carnivore channels, and one of my favorites, you know who's my favorite carnivore doctor, is Anthony Chafee. He says that plants are trying to kill you, but remember, even Anthony hasn't been carnivore his whole life. And then you have Dr. Sean Baker, who is the beast of the carnivore community. He would be like, I guess, number one beast mode, because he's a year older than me, he's an inch shorter than me, and he weighs like probably 60 pounds more than I do, and has a lower body fat percentage. He runs around like a kid. He's amazing. Let me tell you, he is amazing. And I know that a lot of people think he uses steroids, but even if he did, which he says he doesn't, I still think he's amazing. Steroids alone is not going to make somebody that agile. And he's had injuries and everything. So I have a lot of respect for Dr. Sean Baker. I hope eventually he gets the courage when he comes to Miami to meet up with me, because I know a lot of the popular carnivores, they try to distance themselves from me because I'm an oddball. And I believe they figure that hanging around Rick is going to scare a lot of people away, because you have to remember that not too many people want to be like me. I know there's a few that do. And I know there's a few of you that come here every Saturday to check out my video because I inspire you in a certain way. And really, I tell everyone, check me out because I'm about as bad as you can get. And, that's that's the way it is. So again, if you eat 70% or more meat, you are a carnivore. If you eat plants for a day, that doesn't stop you from being a carnivore. And I tell everybody, even a cat eats grass. You let a cat outside, it sees a nice patch of grass, what's it going to do? It's going to start chewing up that grass. But because he's a carnivore, he's either going to throw it up or he's going to, poop it out. And I've seen both. I've had cats many times. They gorge themselves on grass, and then pretty soon they throw up. And I guess that's to clean out their system. So there's something to it. If I tend to eat a lot of plant material, if I try to eat a salad, I will get violent diarrhea. So that's something, and again, there is no carnivore police. And I know some people say, well, the popular carnivore, there is no carnivore police. I consider myself to be the king of carnivores because I've been doing it longer than anybody else. Yes, you have the Maggie lady in Canada, but she's in Canada, she's female, I'm male. I've been carnivore longer than any other male on the internet. I am the tallest carnivore that I know of on YouTube. And the only people I've seen that are my height are some of these young looks maxing kind of guys that are out there trying to sell supplements. And unlike everybody else, I'm not selling you anything. The only thing I'm selling you is a little bit of my time, and it's for free. I'm too poor to give people any kind of money or to get anybody involved. But think about it. I am just giving my time. That's all. I'm giving you my time. That's all I have. And in fact, that's the most valuable thing that all of us have. And if somebody now or even in the future happens to stumble on this video after I've died of my heart attack, and they go, this Rick guy, I heard about him. I heard he was a whack job, he was crazy. He was a difficult person. And they'll watch my video and go, maybe that Rick guy wasn't so bad. It's too bad that he died of a heart attack. But hey, at least he lived his life the way he wanted it to. And that's a good thing. So let's hit these comments. I see they're coming in long and strong now. And it says, best of fermented plants. Howdy, beautiful people. Josephine, howdy from Rick. I wasn't always going to be carnivore. I was going to add in ferment. But I don't like the way my stomach acts when I eat fermented vegetables. Too much bubbling. Well, there you go. And then, Aaron, the Booby Goats, if it doesn't agree with you, don't eat it. That's what I say. Paul McGrogan, yeah, it's spring. Yeah, it's summer here. But and then I see Thomas is back. Hello, everyone. Hello again. My recent experience, 1J's notes. Now, here's a good point. My recent experience with including potatoes versus bananas. The potatoes seem to give better sustained energy, while bananas seem short-term. And this is a very good point. I've noticed this too. But however, bananas can also give you long-term energy. But you have to use green bananas or do what I recommend. If you're going to eat plant food, get plantains. Plantains are very similar to potatoes. Now, potatoes are nightshades. They have toxins in them. If you eat them raw, they'll kill you. But then again, I would definitely avoid potatoes myself. But again, we've been eating potatoes for 1,000 years or more. I mean, they were here in the Americas. So there are ways of making them. If you cook them the right way, I guess if you bake them or boil them or whatever, it breaks down all the toxins. But if you want to eat carbohydrates as an experiment, now I'm not saying if you're a carnivore, you shouldn't be eating any carbohydrates. You don't need them. I don't need them. But if you need to eat them just for an experiment, try plantains or try burro bananas or even regular bananas when they're really green, when they smell like a cucumber. And you can go ahead and cook them up. Usually I like to fry them in beef tallow or lard. And then that would be one way if you want to get blood sugar. And if you have one of those blood sugar meters, you can check it. Now, I've actually done this years ago. I tested it, kept pricking my finger and checking it. And my blood sugar never went up that high. That was the funny thing. I had some heart attack fries. I had 2 handfuls of them. And let's see, within an hour, my blood sugar was about 110, 120. And I tried it later, and it was still around 110, 120. It took a few hours before it dropped below 90. So I thought that was interesting. Now, I've had vegan friends tell me that I'm insulin resistant because I eat so much meat. And I think one of these days I'll do the same thing. I'll get some of my burro bananas or plantains. I'll add them to my diet. I'll eat them at lunchtime like I normally do. Now, again, when I did eat carbohydrates or fresh fruit or whatever, it was always at lunchtime. I never eat any carbohydrates for dinner, and generally not for breakfast, because they don't agree with me. If I eat plant material for breakfast, I'm going to be pooping at lunchtime, and a lot of times that's not something I want to do when I'm working. All right? So if I do eat plant material, it will be at lunch, and then that way it won't interfere with me. But again, why would I eat that stuff when I can have fatty meat instead? It's just so much better. And Booby Goat says, happy spring. Brooke Graves says, Sean is really nice. I'm sure he would like meeting you in person. He looks nice to me. You know, he seems, it's sort of that tall guy, big guy, carnivore attitude. He doesn't get mad. He even has a funny side. He did a couple of comedy videos where he was imitating a doctor, and then he even dressed up like a lady, and I forget what he called himself, but it was really funny. So yeah, I know the type. And let's see, hi Anna. And Thomas says, who wouldn't want to be like you, Rick? You are the duck man. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad. But I failed lately, but I will be on track. Well, you know what? Failure is only a problem if you slip on the duck poop, fall in the duck food, and don't get up. As long as you get up out of the duck food, you're good. And it says, Booby Goat says there's no carnivore police, there's carnivore hierarchy. Well, I think it must be an automatic spell, but yeah, there is a hierarchy. There are different carnivores out there. And let's see. And Lisa Wondrous. Hi, hey Rick, hey. And hello Thomas and Rick. And Booby Goats has the best channel. Yes, she does. Check it out. You want reality? That's a good one of our real carnivore channels. Morning, Thomas. How was your interview? Oh, I have to check that out. I think I saw your interview. I can't keep up. I see so many interviews. I can't keep up. The one with Dante, very good. Okay, I haven't seen that one. Or have I? I can't remember. Shoot, I try to comment on all of them so I know what I'm doing. And Peter says, I'm doing my morning 5-mile walk, 60 degrees and sunny down here in South Florida. Yes, it is a great day in South Florida. Maybe one of the last ones of the year. Busy day, Booby Goats. Terry Sue got out of bed. The chat is too good. There you go. Making my coffee and on the PC so I can type. That's great. Now, anyway, let me see if I can I was trying to open some files that I had. I wanted to show you if this works. Now, if I crash, that would be normal. Let's see here. All right. Let me see if I can open this. Okay. And, all right. Okay, let me see if I can show you some pictures here. Okay, yeah. Wait a minute. Must have rearranged. I'll figure it out. All right. Okay. Let me move this over here. Okay. That is interesting. Okay. What did I just do? All right. There we go. Now let me change the scene. Can you see that picture? Yes or no? Okay. All right. Let me hit these comments. Hi, everyone, from Terry Sue, and morning from Booby Goats. Target Prime Rib Thomas says, no, Rick, the Dante interview won't be out for another 2 to 3 weeks from now. Okay. Lisa Wanderer, late night in Oz, but was determined to catch one of your epic lives. There we go. Aginus would also recommend green bananas. I think he had a recipe for blending with raw eggs and cream. Infidel Castor. Hey, Rick, I think you're great. Greetings from Sweden. Well, greetings from Miami. Now, when I think of Sweden, I think about the Swedish chef. Remember that character? Work, work, work. And I've had friends that were from Sweden It's a shame that the country is not as good as it used to be, but there's a lot of great people that came from there. In fact, one of my best friends came from, from that background of Swedish and German background. He's an awesome guy, and that's actually the one I talked about, who's a 23-year carnivore. Amazing. Okay, and Thomas says he's being interviewed today by Carnivore Transformer and DC Cancer and his life journey. Okay, so I guess you can see the image that I have here, which is a friend of mine sent me this. I have no idea who made it, but Mopar Maniac, that's me. So let's go over here and let's see if I can. Okay, that's interesting. All right. Now, I have several images here. Here's another one. So, now, see that over there? This is what the kind of stuff that they used to have back in the 50s and early 60s. These are the types of homes that they would build. And by the way, this is the kind of home I'm going to build. Whoops. Don't want to do that. So you can see these images, I hope. Anyway, notice some of the things that they tell you. Now, nowadays, they try to tell you that your home is elevated and it's luxury. So today, the word luxury is basically a code name for it's overpriced. So it's black, white, and gray, but we call it luxury. It's like the term luxury apartment. That's an oxymoron if I've ever heard one, because when people are rich, they don't live in apartments. They live in mansions. I mean, at least McMansion, which is crap, at least it has the word mansion in it. And you think of a mansion, it's a big place. But back in the old days, let's say you're in 1958 when this home was built. And as you can see, well, we got another image here. I'm not sure what that's all about. Okay, now I lost it. Okay. Let me try again. All right. I got so many mixed up images here. Okay. So anyway, this is how they used to advertise homes back then. And it says, don't worry about the hurricane. Buy a Florida sun deck home. And then you see this cloud is angry. I give up. These Florida sun deck homes are too tough for me. And you have these, it looks like oxen or elephants or whatever pulling on this house. It's not going anywhere. And then, but the best part of these is the price. I mean, think about it. In Miami today, if you want to buy a house, you're going to spend at least $500,000 for the most run-down, termite-infested hellhole you could ever imagine. But back in the 50s, for a monthly payment of approximately $41, you could enjoy a Florida sun deck home. The originators and builders of the indestructible home. Now, they had a bunch of these down in Leisure City. When Hurricane Andrew hit, it wiped out all the neighborhoods. But guess what? These sun deck homes, they were there. A lot of them have been Cubanized. They've been added on, and then they put all this fake Mediterranean crap on it. There was one house that was like that. All that crap blew off, and they were left with the box with a flat roof, and that was it. The reason they were called sun deck homes is because the roof was flat, and you could climb up on the roof, and you could have it like a barbecue. Now, that's the way I like to build a home. And notice here you have weight stacked on top of it. There's Old Man Hurricane. Compression strength of walls is 133 million pounds. Okay, that's something else. So that's it. Now, let's hit these comments again. And let's see. My husband and I wish I could get these comments to come up. That's one of the things that's a little bit on the frustrating side. Okay. My husband and I were bringing the Beverly Hillbillies yesterday. Oh, humor back then is so different. Yes, that's right. Tonic and South Valley. Yeah, that was a funny show. I need to look for the Carnivore from Sweden. That's right. My breakfast is steak with cold butter and eggs and bacon. Yum. I'm drinking coffee with a little heavy cream. Those print ads are awesome. Well, I'm glad you can see them. I call new housing developments these days 50 Shades of Gray. That is it. Remember in the old days, all the bathrooms were colorful, and I can show you some of the interiors from the 50s. They were beautiful. And it doesn't cost any more money than the garbage. In fact, the garbage they sell now costs so much more money. Now imagine back then, all right, you buy this house for $49 a month. You say, well, inflation, whatever. But I got news for you. What was minimum wage in 1960? It was $1 an hour. So if you worked 40 hours a week at minimum wage, you got $40 before taxes. So in a month, how much money was that? Well, 4 times 40. Theoretically, if you were very frugal back then on minimum wage, you could buy a car. Wouldn't be a great car, might be a Volkswagen Beetle. You could buy a house. Now remember, these were new houses. Used houses were half the price. So it was cheap to live in Florida, and I mean cheap. But then you got these drug dealers and these idiots and all this other stuff that came here. Now this is my neighborhood. This is Westwood Lakes. So let's take a look at what it costs to live in Westwood Lakes. Is that expensive? Of course not. Look at this. Why isn't this thing want to move around? Okay. This is what the houses came. You could choose from a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, screen porch house with a carport for $7,450. Now this was in the year 1956, which I think there was a date on here at one time. But now your monthly payment would be $47.92 for a nice little house. I mean, a little tiny 75 by 100 lot. These houses today, even after being Cubanized and ruined, they will be at least $500,000. I mean, if you could find one that had been burned to the ground, maybe you could get it for $400,000. And that's it. Now again, 1956, that's what this was. So what does that tell you? The Federal Reserve has ripped us off with the constant inflation. It just doesn't stop. Now, there were other homes that were more expensive, obviously, but, oh, and speaking of that, here's another one. You want to live on Biscayne Key Estates? Well, there you go. Now, this is up in the Northwest. This was, I think, 1959, and 20 minutes from the adjacent to Crandon Park. Now, if you know Key Biscayne, it's a very, very, very expensive place now, loaded with crappy condos. I mean, it is a garbage pile. That's where the zoo used to be in Crandon Park. And, they have tennis and all that over there, but they used to have a golf course there. But now, it's a giant development. So if you didn't want to live here in Westwood Lakes, you could buy a more expensive house. And you can see over here, we have 3-bedroom, 1-bath for $9,950, or the 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $14,750. That's more than double what the cheap houses were, but you could live on Key Biscayne. And they had a tile roof. They had oak floors. Now these homes were raised up, not like in my neighborhood where they're on a slab. There were better homes. The lot size was at least 75 by 100. And it was nice. Private yacht club for the use of residents. Now, where in the world can you get a home like that now? You can't. You can't. Because the Federal Reserve and the financial system has financialized everything. Now, if you were a young person in your 20s back then and you had a halfway decent job, you could buy a house, you could start a family. They say, well, why doesn't anybody start a family now? Because who wants to have a family in an apartment building that you have to pay $3,000 a month to live in, and it's just crap, total crap. It's a big, ugly, gray box. Garbage. Unbelievable. Not good. But anyway, that's what they had back then. So what else did we have? Well, if you were in the 50s, you might want to get, you might have a commercial building or a school that looks like this. And again, it's a box. This is Chrysler Corporation, which, by the way, it had to be in my collection of pictures because I'm a Mopar man. It's nothing really interesting. But if you look at these buildings, even though they're just boxes, You have a high ceiling. They have brick, stone. You have the water feature. That's actually kind of nice. So if I'm going to build a new house, I want it to look like this. You have these rods sticking up with the long overhang. I think that's pretty nice. Now again, I criticize modern architecture today because it's all black, white, and gray, painted crap. They're too cheap to even put a ceiling inside. They just leave everything exposed. Back then, you can't really see it, but you got your air conditioning vents, your recessed lights, your ceiling tiles. This is super nice. You got your curtains, a few plants. Now, if this was my place, it'd be pretty overgrown, but that's fine. But you can see there's just a lot of style. Here's another one. And again, it's just a box. There's nothing special about it. It looks like either it's a college or something like that. It's got the aluminum screens. Makes a nice house. You got pretty basic round lights. You got people sitting outside. You got plants. But again, yeah, it's modern. Not everybody can have a classical, neoclassical or whatever, but it works. And you can see over here, this is one of those old motels they used to have, which no longer exist. They are all high-rises now, ugly. But that's what we used to have. So people say, well, Rick, why do you hate Miami so much? I don't hate Miami. I hate what they did to it. They ruined this place. They wrecked it. They destroyed it. They turned it into a hoarder house. There's really nothing attractive about it. Now, some of the features we had back then were the jalousie windows. If you're not familiar with these, they're really neat because they give you full ventilation. You can look outside. I've got a few of them here. This is what we used to call the Florida room. And it wasn't just in Florida. You could find it up north. This house looks like it's up north. But they were out there. They were very popular. Now, in the 1980s, we had all the crime. People didn't want them anymore because they were easy to break in. You could slide the window out and break in real easy. But if you live in a house like I do, nobody's going to break in. When your house is kind of scary, it's like the Addams Family, nobody's going to break in that house. So, and there's just a lot that we had that we've lost. They even used to do unique things like this. They built a development where they built a house upside down. They even put a car in here. So imagine, you got your jalousie windows, you got your low-pitch roof, the house is upside down. Now, that doesn't exist anymore. And if it was built on a golf course, that golf course is going to be on the, that's going to be on the first list of things to develop. So, but yeah, Florida used to be a quirky place with all kinds of interesting things. Now it's black, white, and gray. It's nothing but a bunch of crap. And that's a shame. People used to have more of a sense of humor, but they don't anymore. Here's some more of those. This is the Leisure City version. This is the place I told you about that survived Hurricane Andrew. Here's the house. Look at that price. Isn't that a deal? $5,280. A $530 down payment and $31 and something a month. The neighborhood's not great, but it was better back then than it is now. Now it's like a third world country. But this is it. And again, very simple. These are just basically modern homes, but if the bathrooms all had colored tiles and sparkles and all kinds of stuff. They tried to make it as interesting as possible. And you notice they don't say luxury homes. What do they say? For people of modest means. So in other words, they're not trying to sell you a lie. Nowadays, every development says luxury, elevated, whatever. It's garbage. They're selling you garbage as something desirable. That would be like buying Trump steaks. Trump steaks were a pretty low-end meat, but it's Trump steaks. Now, of course, once people tasted it and they realized for the money he was charging, it was crap, then it failed. But this is what happens with the market here. The trick is you get as many people as you can that are super desperate. and they need a place to live. So then what they do, they force you in, and they say, well, you can't have what you really want, but we'll give you something that's a little bit less, but it's going to cost you more. So this is a reason why my slogan for today's corporate America is less for more. It used to be more for less. Back in the mid-century, the 50s, the 60s, you get more for less. We're going to give you a better car for less money and something. Okay. Yeah, okay, I see a comment here which is interesting. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. Interesting. All right, let me go through these comments here. I see a technical issue that may be morning retired Rick. Okay, quack, quack, quack from retired Rick. Yes. All right. Your future home will have a water catchment system. Yes, it will. And I have. I'm going to show you when I build. I hate those gray cement boxes. I think those kind of buildings make people depressed. Yes, Sweden is full of them. That's right. Okay. You can't even buy a bad car for $7,000 these days. You got that right. These are elephants trying to pull that house. Big advertising at its finest. See, they always had a sense of humor back then. Morning retired Rick, I enjoy your fishing videos. Yes, check out his channel if you haven't. Let's see, one Jay's notes, Mr. Tractor. We all live in boxes and go to work in a box with wheels to the big building, which is also a box. We are cats. I think we're worse than that. I'm so confused about losing weight. Okay, believe in yourself. You're so right, Rick. It seems like we've all been ripped off. Yes, my parents' generation can buy a house. There's no way people in my generation can buy a working class. And see, we need to work on that. This is what we have to do. There are ways we can fix this problem, but it's not going to be easy, but we can do it. I do believe fatty meat. I say eat more fats. I can't see my first comment on the live stream. Okay. Yeah, more meat and fatty meats. You have to be loyal to 30-day. Okay, we got comments back and forth. And Jonathan, Carnivore Muscle says, Rick, I would suggest checking your OBS studio and click mute on one of your audio inputs. It sounds like you have two inputs. I've been trying to do that. The mic aux keeps coming up. And I tried to remove it. Let's see. I put mute on the microphone in Windows, but it just, I don't know. Let me try it again. I think I've got some issues going on here. Let's see. System. Sound. Microphone. Okay, no. It shows, I don't know, there's something weird going on here. Let me do this. Let me see if I can disable it. Yeah, let me see if that works. Okay. Let me put don't allow. That should help. Nope, it's still showing up. I get so darn frustrated with the technical issues. Oh well. I don't have an option to mute this on OBS for some weird reason. See, I got mic aux, and it says active, but there's no way to mute it. Oh my goodness. I may just have to open the computer and cut the wires to the silly thing. I don't know why it's not working for me. Oh well. It's a work in progress. We're back in the 60s here. I can barely use a rotary phone, so we'll do that. All right. Let's see. The standards were raised too high. I've noticed it in other countries too. I watch booby videos. Awesome. Okay. I bought 2 dozen eggs. Wow. $2 a dozen. Well, that's good. I'm going on 4 weeks without eggs. Awesome picture review. I have a lot of pictures, and let's see. I love the beehive hair women. Yeah. In the old days, it's before I was born, obviously, but when I was growing up, I still caught a little bit of it because a lot of that stuff was still around when I was a kid. So it was kind of interesting, and it's kind of a meme today because a lot of times people will look at old pictures and they compare it to now. And they say, well, Things aren't quite as good as they were. Now here's a neighborhood nearby. This is Coral Way Village. Now these were upgrades from the homes over here. Spacious L-shaped 3-bedroom, 1 and 2 bath homes in Healthful, close to town, Coral Way Village. Open today, model home. Now these homes were also built in South Miami Heights, featuring General Electric. And look what it says. What does it say right here? Don't live in a box. Don't live in a box. Famed architect Norman Geller. At lowest price. Now again, they don't say luxury. They say lowest price. Your investment in safe living. Yep. Okay, safe living. And was it expensive? I mean, it must have been expensive to live in a nice home like that. I mean, I can only imagine. $2 million? Oh, wait a minute. This is 1958. Here's your total price. You got a $50 deposit. You're going to pay $10,950, and you have a monthly payment of $69. Now, the resolution's not that good. Here's what you get. Again, now F&R Builders is the exact same company that built the homes that I'm in, developed by Imperial Homes, and that's really nice. And again, I'll do a bicycle tour of these neighborhoods so you can see. These were neat little homes when they were new, but most of them were Cubanized, which means that they put on like Mediterranean style tile, they put on fake ornaments, they added on. You got to make enough room to be able to fit all your family members and the 2 rental rooms that you're going to use to pay the mortgage. So that's what happened. And of course, the Cuban homes don't have any trees. They cut down all the trees. They turn the yard into a parking lot. And they have to get the driveway in these little squares now with fake grass strips in between. So it's pretty typical. And again, I'll show you that too. Now, there were other developments, obviously. This was a more high-end development near the ocean, Bel Air. This was up in Broward County, and you can see it's from 1954. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, close to ocean. There's the ocean. There's your neighborhood. And they had a canal that went through there. And it started at $18,750. So it was about double the price of Westwood Lakes. But again, by the ocean, 1954, you got the Intercoastal Waterway and the canal, and here's your neighborhood. That's a really expensive neighborhood now. Sea Ranch neighborhood. You couldn't touch a home there for less than $3 million. Pretty amazing, huh? And it even had its own swimming pool, which I think they tore down and built an apartment building there. So, if you wanted a more luxurious home, you could get it. You could get whatever you want back then. And that's because we still had a lot of land and we didn't have as many people. Now, if you were a, certain minority, you might want to go to Richmond Heights. Now, these homes, again, this is from the 60s. You can see it's a little later. And they started from $12,000 up to $23,000. And that's always been kind of a ghetto ever since. But, that's another thing we have here. And what else do we have? We have a lot of files. Let's see, what is this one? There we go. All right, that's the same one, the Suntan Village. Okay. Okay. What else do we have? This is an interior of a typical restaurant back in the 50s, and as you can see, it has a ceiling, which they don't have anymore. They have recessed lights, but they used to have these little, I don't know what you call it, with these border lights around it. You had colorful curtains and tables, a carpet, and wooden chairs. Not bad. And this was just your average run-of-the-mill type restaurant. It wasn't anything expensive. What other interiors? Your typical shopping mall. Let's see. What else do we have here? All kinds of stuff. This is back when Publix was a good store. If you're familiar with Publix, which is one of my least favorite stores, I hate Publix today. I think it's the biggest piece of garbage. They have the worst food. They cost a fortune, and they're extremely ugly. Notice the phone booths. You got 2 phone booths over there. Look at those 60s cars. This sign used to have a color changing. It would be an outline of neon, green in the middle, and then background. So it would like alternate between background only, neon edge, and then the whole thing lit at the same time. And they had this neon waterfall that went down the middle of Publix sign. They had this jet airplane looking thing, and these were the symbols for S&H green stamps, which I actually still have some of those. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, well, this is interesting. Modern hairstyling. Okay, that looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Now, which one of these hairstyles would be similar to mine? Flat top. What is that? I can't read that. Crew, executive contour. Oh, here we go. Ivy League. That looks like mine. So that's where that came from. There you go. Modern hairstyling is a professional art. Okay. And I've been cutting my hair ever since. But yeah, that's where it came from. So if you want to know where a lot of my ideas came from, you know, they had some pretty weird stuff. Now, we had a comment here about mayonnaise, I think. Well, let's see. I'm neglecting the comments. All right. And Carnivore Muscle, great observation. I noticed that things were marketed totally differently back then. We became more superficial as a society. Well, that's because you have to realize that in order to have multi-billionaires, you have to take a little from everybody. So you have to remove value from the product and steal it. So that way, you selfish bastard can ride around in some overpriced exotic car, live in an overpriced home, and have bimbos all around you. That's the whole idea. And then you put yourself out there to the young people as a model of what they should be. And that's what happened. Okay, ruining the young people. Yes, superficial, yes. Can we make homemade mayonnaise with lard, egg yolks, and salt only? Okay, this is an excellent question. Yes, you can make mayonnaise with lard. There is a problem, though. In order to keep mayonnaise from going bad, you either have to can it, and you can keep it like that, but as soon as you open it, you have to refrigerate it. Once you refrigerate the mayonnaise, it's going to solidify, and you're going to end up with basically egg butter. So you can do that, and again, if you don't mind having to scoop out something that's like butter, once you put it on your food, it will warm up. So if you're one of those people that likes a Big Mac and you want it carnivore style, then you can use the lard mayonnaise. Now, I generally do not recommend using bacon fat. Bacon fat has too much of a bacon flavor. It'll make it disgusting. You need to use lard, pure white lard. You can also use beef tallow, but it's going to be a lot harder. I recommend using lard. And again, I see comments on there. It's something you should try. You might actually like it. It might help you to avoid the duck food. When you run an ad now about housing, you are not allowed to show or say a church in the neighborhood. Oh, wow. It's considered steering. That's ridiculous. Okay, and then Jonathan Carnivore Muscle says, retired Rick, yeah, probably butter is better for meat. Yes, and some use mustard, white pepper, and lemon juice. That is correct. But again, give it a try. I don't think lard would work as it solidifies in the fridge. It does, but again, you can keep it not as cold and it'll spread like butter, and when it melts, it'll be really nice. Okay, how to avoid poopy chicken eggs. I've never washed my eggs. I've never been sick either. Been to the farm stall? Oh, wow. Got raw milk, eggs, and sausages. That's great. Let's see. Yeah. Bacon fat is typically lard. I don't like bacon mayo. It's good for first use only, but that's just me. And you are right, Terry Sue. I don't like it either. Lard comes specifically from rendered pig fat. That is correct. I'm not picky on mayo. I just buy Best Foods. Got to pick your battles. Right. Those hairstyles were punishments for boys of the 60s. As soon as the whole Beatles thing started, nobody wanted to look 50s anymore. But you have to realize that in the 80s, when we had big hair, that 50s look was so uncool. That was like a Pee Wee Herman kind of thing. So I didn't care if they called me Pee Wee Herman. You know, whatever. All right. I like Hellman's, but wanting some healthy made mayo. If the boys wanted beetle hair, their dad would shave their head. There you go. Happened to my husband. I think it says Butch Rick. Okay. Rick, did you cut your own hair? Clippers with scissors. I cut my own hair. I use scissors for part of it, and I use that little buzz clipper. Maybe I'll have to make a video on that sometime while I talk, but I'm sure that if you saw me up close, it would break the camera, and that would be it. My dad always made me leave a burr haircut until I was 18. Okay. Cutting the back is a bit difficult. It is not, as long as you use electrical tape. That's all you have to do. So what I do, I just take the electrical tape, I stretch it across the back of my head, and then I use the clipper to just shave it down. Maybe I should make a video on that. And Carnivore Muscle, okay, he's got a critique right here. Says Rick does not care about his viewers or their comments. He's very neglectful and should have his YouTube share of his enormous monetization cut off. Well, there you go. And he also says, I haven't paid for a haircut in about 8 years. Spent maybe $60 total on clippers. Saved hundreds. And the thing is, you don't have that much hair to work with. And when you look like he does, which is a beast, even if you had a bad haircut, who's going to tell you your hair's looking bad? You know, you take one look at them, they'll run in the other direction. I mean, like, nope. Okay, vinegar or lemon is important for mayonnaise. Yes, it is. And again, vinegar is basically, fermented grape juice, and lemon is also from a plant. But again, don't worry about it. You like mayonnaise, go ahead and put it in there. It's not going to kill you. No one has ever said that you're going to die instantly from eating, plant material. That stuff's going to really destroy you. But anyway, now look at this old ad from the 50s. Now again, it's got that 50s color, and there's your Hellman's real mayonnaise. Of course, back then, even then, they were using soybean oil. So I don't know. Real mayonnaise is probably just like real duck food. But take a look at this picnic salad. Now, I thought this was kind of interesting. It's a potato salad, so you got potatoes in there, but what else do we have in there? Tomatoes? And what's this around the salad? That doesn't look like a plant. It looks like eggs. And it says it's real mayonnaise made with only freshly broken eggs, added egg yolks, choice salad oil. That's the part that's a problem. Vinegar and piquant seasoning. No thickening with arrowroot. No starchy filler. Now, think about it. Instead of using salad oil, what if you use something like, coconut oil? Yeah, it may be a little coconut flavored. And by the way, if you are one of those people that wants to eat plant foods, you know what you might think of getting? Get your own, and what they call an expeller press. It's a little thing, it's got a screw in it, and it has a crank. You can put your seeds in there if you want to eat seed oils, which I don't recommend. But if you do want to eat seed oils, why not grind your own? Instead of buying seed oils that have been through a factory and that are rancid, they've been deodorized, whatever, get yourself the seed you like. If you're Asian, get some sesame seeds. If you, if you're like me and you live in a tropical climate, you could just make some coconut oil. That's not hard to do. And again, a little mayonnaise isn't going to kill you, but if you buy that crap from the store, you're basically just buying duck food. Now, let's see. What else do we have? We have a comment here. Since you are not, Terry Sue has a question. Since you are not eating eggs here lately, do you put electrolytes in your water? Just wondering. No, I don't. I have still not used electrolytes. Let me see. let me see if I can pop out the chat. I got an idea. I got this to work before. Okay, it's not working. Okay, why is it not working? Oh well. Oh, wait a minute. Let me try a little something else here. I'm going to close this. And I'm going to go over here. Now, where did that silly thing go? Oh well, let me switch the scene. There we go. Hopefully you can see me now. I'm sure you're disappointed. You go, oh, now I got to see this guy's ugly face after watching all those cool old ads. What I want to do eventually is to make a video about the Miami area, and I'm going to incorporate those ads in there. And then that way, you know, once I get the ability to edit videos the way I like, I think I can outdo most of the popular YouTubers. I watch their videos, and yes, they are kind of interesting, but what annoys me are the jump cuts. I really hate that when somebody's narrating a video and then you have all these jump cuts. What I would do is if I made a mistake, I would simply redo the scene. So that way, between images and between diagrams and stuff like that, I would have myself there. Now, let me see if I can actually get the other camera to work. Let me see. Nope, it is not working. I guess this must be locked or something like that. Okay. Oh, interesting. Oh well, no big deal. It's just a matter of getting this thing to work the way I like to. Okay, let me see if I can open this up. Okay. I keep deviled eggs in my fridge often. My mom and husband gobble them up faster than I can make them. Well, that's good. They're eating eggs. They're doing well. And Terry Sue says, yay, you're back. Yes, I am back. I love deviled eggs, especially at Thanksgiving time. The white shirt seems different. I'd like to see what it looks like at the end of the day. LOL. I'm allergic to white clothes. It's a food and stain magnet. I wear the white shirt only for these live streams and for the occasional office job. Now, as you know, I do most of my work outdoors physically, but I do some inside work. And one of the jobs that I always dress up for is when I am doing tutoring or I'm doing some type of office reorganization. Because nobody wants to look at someone who's got ratty old clothes and doesn't look so great. Now, I've had people ask me, well, what do you do for cologne? I hate cologne. That's the one thing that I cannot stand. And here in Miami, people are crazy about that stuff. I have a neighbor, his 20-something kid uses so much of that stuff, I can smell it in my house through the air conditioning. That's how bad it is now. Obviously, my home, I suck air from outside through the air conditioner. My air conditioner does not recycle. I mean, it recycles some of the air, but it has an air-to-air heat exchanger. So really, what happens is, you know, all the outside scents end up in here. When I was burning all my yard trash, my house smelled like an ashtray. And that's it. But I really find the cologne and perfume to be offensive, especially down here, because it's everywhere. And I won't wear it. Now, as for the deodorant thing, I don't use that generally either. I have one of those sticks, and I think it dried out before I ever finished it. I only used it occasionally, and really, I don't care. I would rather be around someone that doesn't use that stuff, because I have to admit, you know, if somebody doesn't smell good, that means they need to take a bath or a shower. That's all. But instead, I think people, I'm going to offend somebody, what they call a Mexican shower, where they just wash a couple parts and splash on the cologne. That seems to, I shouldn't have said that, but that seems to be the way of doing it. And it really does bother me because it's unnecessary. There's no reason why anyone should do that. Now, why can't I get my browser to come up? This is really weird. I seem to have lost the Google Chrome. That's very odd. Oh, okay. It helps if I go to another page. I'm a complete idiot sometimes. Actually, I think I'm a complete idiot most of the time. There we go. So let me go over here and let me see if I can open 2 of these instances without crashing it. That's not working. Okay. There we go. A lot of activity out in the neighborhood. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and I'm going to see what happens. I love doing these experiments, I have to admit. Okay. Now let me switch scenes. What the heck did I just do? Uh-oh. Okay. I'm going to close this. There we go. I'm back, and I'm going to switch scenes. Okay. Now you can see I've opened YouTube, and you can see some of the recommendations that I get. Now, I subscribe to a lot of channels, so we get a lot of recommendations here. This guy over here, I've seen him do videos in Florida, but he seems like a little mentally off, so I don't know. I don't really comment on his channel anymore. And I get from Brian Johnson and, of course, stocks, because I'm always watching these economic videos and so on. So you can see I get a lot of recommendations, but let me go ahead and go to my channel. All right. And let me open up my little stream here. And let me open up my little stream here. And, oh, okay, we don't want to do that. All right. So there it is, and you can see the comments over there. Now, I tried, let me see something here. How did I get this to work? Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, so then what you can do, that's what I was trying to do. Okay. And I tried to overlay that on the other video, and then something went wrong, but hey, what can you do, right? I could probably resize this window and then coexist. Okay. Let's see. It's good not to wear cologne since so many elders have COPD. That's right. I agree with that. Now see, I like what Jonathan says. I don't use any cleansing products apart from natural. This should be, the problem is getting this thing to fit. I'm going to tinker around with this. I had it working, but for some reason it just didn't work. But anyway, you can see the comments. Natural serums and beef tallow. And again, you know, we have pets. I have a cat. Cat doesn't take a bath. He just licks himself. He smells just fine. Why is it that we have to perfume ourselves so we don't smell bad? It really comes down to keeping your clothes clean, keeping your skin clean. Don't eat duck food. And that's it. And I think a lot of times keeping yourself healthy also helps. So that's it. Oh, we have a lot of comments here, you know. Mitch is considering, yeah, I saw Mitch's video. He's considering taking a low dosage aspirin and mild statin. If he does, well, try it out and see what happens. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take medicines, but medicine should only be for short term. Now, he had his stroke. They don't really know what caused it, but hey, that's it. Anyway, so you can see your comments here. Again, I tried to make it where this pop up so that way I could click every one of them and it would come up. And that's a feature that's actually I found in the Google Chrome that lets you do that. So, and Mark says, can't even stand walking by Lush. I think that's a store, isn't it? It's like when you go to the mall, you walk by these perfume stores. It's just terrible. I just really, I can't understand it. I would rather, like I said, if somebody smelled not that great and they weren't wearing cologne, that's probably better than wearing cologne and mixing that together. I said, look, you smell bad, take a bath. Now, even Paul Saladino made a video, and he was saying, he says, well, you know, he doesn't use any of that stuff either. And he says, well, if you want to and you happen to be by, just smell him and see what he's like. Well, I'm never going to go to Costa Rica, and If he saw me, he'd run the other direction. But anyway, so we're talking about Mitch over here. And again, I haven't really made a decision as to what I think about his situation. I can tell you what my opinion is. I think that it was not the carnivore diet that caused his problem. It was the years of duck food, and I'm sure the cigars didn't help. I know he thinks that he can smoke cigars and be fine, but I'm one of those people that I really don't believe that anyone should ever smoke, although I've known people that lived into their 90s. But the thing is, a person who has a history of medical issues and then chooses to smoke cigars, I think is just sabotaging his health. Now, again, if the person was healthy their whole life, and it's like the old Cuban that lived down the street who smoked big fat cigars until he died at 92, that's a different story. This is someone who never had a heart attack, never had a stroke, was always active. He was out there playing dominoes with his friends, and they would smoke cigars, and there's no problem. But I think in his case, ditching the cigar might be a good idea, at least for a while, because those blood clots, they could come at any time, and there could be a stroke. But again, I can't say anything because I'm not from the same background. I have never smoked anything in my life. I tell everybody I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I don't get laid. And that's why nobody else wants to be me. That's it. But anyway, okay, let's hit some more of these comments. Long list of side effects on statins. Yes, include muscle wasting and type 2 diabetes. I agree. Now again, on Rick's heart attack diet, I would probably just take steroids. If I was skinny and I was ready to die, I'd try to beef up as much as I can. That way, when I have my heart attack, I'll just drop dead. I don't think that anabolic steroids increase the risk of stroke, but they do increase the risk of heart attack. So heart attack is good. Stroke, not so much. But then again, watch Mitch, because he's going to recover more than people think. Remember, he's almost 80. I mean, how many people his age come back from a stroke where they can at least talk and move around? So you know what? More power to him. I support him. I'm not going to put him down. He's one of us. I see some of my characteristics in him, and I think he's the same way. I think he sees some of his characteristics in me. So we got that in common. And I've had a lot of older friends when I was growing up. I love that kind of personality. So they have a different kind of sense of humor, and they really don't get offended easily, at least I hope not. Now, I noticed that Mitch was getting a little offended by some of the comments, and I think that may have been a symptom of the stroke. Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, we got the comments here. And salad I don't know is what Parquet calls him. That's it. Cigars are pretty gross, but as long as I don't have to be around the smoke, no problem. Hey, I don't have a problem with people smoking. When I had my company, I had a worker that smoked. He'd go outside and puff on his cigarette. I told him, well, you have to have your adult pacifier. So one day, I got a pacifier, and I drilled a hole in it, and I made it into a cigarette holder, and I put it on his desk. I said, here you go. So he had his adult pacifier. He could suck on the thing. It's kind of funny. And Boomer McGeezer says, Rick, you're too funny. Well, yes. And by the way, that picture, isn't that Cappy guy from YouTube? I think the one that's always doing his rants. Kind of interesting. Okay. Secondhand smoke is something, I believe it. I didn't always do. Now that I'm older. The other thing is bugs my lungs. The road is choking. Okay. I think you can crop overlays by holding control at the top. Okay. Great work on getting the comments off. It would be easier if you just use the $40 a month StreamYard Pro. Well, that's true. I just have to. I don't know. One thing about me is I never like the idea of subscriptions. I like the idea of independence. I don't even like utilities. If I had my way, there would be no FPL, there'd be no utilities, there'd be no water department, there'd be nothing. Everybody would have their own home, they would have access to food, and they'd have the energy they need. So that's good. Okay, I had heart attack chicken with Andy's chicken seasoning. Oh, good. Fried in lard, egg yolks. There you go. See, retired Rick? Learn from the original Rick, the quack. I know how to cook. I can cook with no problem. No egg yolks, dang it. Yeah, well, dang AI. Okay. I guess they spelled it wrong. Okay. 4 heart attack drumsticks yesterday, my new preferred way. Now see, once you've had heart attack chicken, there is no way that you can go back. You know, somebody gives you Kentucky Fried Chicken, you're going to call it KFC, Kentucky Fried Crap. That's what I call it. Okay, I agree. Yep, that's right. It takes a little bit of time. I will get it. Don't you worry. And I have faith that between you guys and my luck at finding stuff, I'm going to have the best carnivore YouTube channel, because long after a lot of the other popular carnivores have quit the carnivore diet and they've gone with Paul Saladino over there to hang out with him in Costa Rica and feel each other up, I'll still be here waiting for that big old heart attack, because one of these days you're going to see the ad. It's like, carnivore dies of a heart attack after 40, 50, 60 years as carnivore. The carnivore diet killed him. That's right. Okay. Love your ideas, yes. Drinking and stress, got rid of both. They will kill you. Yes, they will. And again, I have a picture I'll share with you when I find it of what I looked like when I was taking care of my mom for years and totally stressed. The funny thing is, I lost all that body fat in 3 months without exercising, doing absolutely nothing except relaxing. I went out there, I spent more time with my ducks, and I felt great. Now, thankfully, because I've been on the carnivore diet so long, I've never been overweight. But my body composition changed, which was not good. You know, I like having a flat stomach. And I like, even though I'm skinny, I don't have any ribs showing. I'm not going to show myself because they'll make fun of me. But a lot of the vegans I know that are lean, their ribs are showing and mine don't. You can see in my face I don't look that sick. So anyway, yeah, heart attack is the best chicken. It's really delicious. And the problem is people eat chicken breast. Chicken breast, no, absolutely not. Don't eat that crap unless you're going to use it to make Rick's pacemaker pizza. Now again, I haven't had any eggs. I've been kind of on a budget, but when I can afford or I have access to the foods, I'm going to show you how I make heart attack buns, how I make pacemaker pizza. And let me tell you something, I hate pizza. The smell of pizza reminds me of vomit. But when I have Rick's pacemaker pizza, I'm salivating. And when that pizza's cooking in the oven, oh, it's so good. And everybody I know that loves pizza, they prefer Rick's Heart Attack pizza to any commercial pizza. I don't care how expensive it is. Rick's Heart Attack pizza, Rick's Pacemaker pizza is the best pizza on earth. Now, you probably know that I'm not one of those people that spends a lot of time doing these, I don't know, creative recipes. Now, again, if you want to check out some of those creative recipes, there's a guy, his name is Chris, and he has a channel called Chris Cooking Nashville. And people make fun of him because he's fat, and whatever. But the guy is nice. I really like his channel. I want to meet him someday. I want to try some of his foods. He's, in my opinion, one of the good guys. Now, your opinion may differ, but I like to know a lot of different people. Obviously, ideal dinner would be going on a dinner with somebody like Sean Baker or Anthony Chafee, all right? But I like the creative imitation duck food people like Chris Cooking Nashville. He can take carnivore foods and make them similar to duck food. And duck food, which I normally hate and turns my stomach, it would be interesting to try his versions and see if I have the same effect. I might actually like some of this duck food, at least in that version. And of course, Carnivore Muscle says, Rick, 210 years of age, has died since undertaking the carnivore diet in the 1980s. I don't think I'm going to live that long. I think I'm going to live to my 90s. My grandfather lived to 94. And let's see. Okay. It would be 6 years taking care of my mom. Oh, let me tell you, I'm going to have to make a video on that. My dad died in 2012. My mom died in 2020. So 8 years I had to take care of my mom. And even before, when Dad was still alive, I was taking care of him for 2 years. So it was 10 years of my life taking care of my parents. And it It did take its toll on me, although I did survive and I came out of it just fine. But for 10 years of my life, it was a challenge. Taco Bell smells exactly like vomit. I agree. Oh, here's news to me. Maggie and her husband were in a very serious car accident several months ago. She is unbelievably, working the ranch, but he is still not able to. I wonder if her husband is a carnivore. And I can tell you, I've been in several car accidents. In fact, I was in a Bobcat accident. I got hit while working in the Bobcat. I've been hit many times, and I've never really been seriously injured. I also had a few bicycle accidents. I crashed into a coconut tree with my bicycle because the wheel came off. And so far I've been okay. So hopefully that the car accident doesn't really, it'll slow her down. She is old, but she's still going. That's good. Now, I have mixed feelings about the whole Maggie thing because I think Carrie's kind of kept her under wraps because she's in that documentary that he's doing. So he's basically, I think, keeping her out of the light. But I think in many ways it was good because at least it put attention on her cause. She was able to get money to put into her ranch. So I think that being exposed to the carnivore community actually worked out really well for her. And that's good. And I see a lot of people. You have like Bill Knott. He admitted he was basically circling the drain. And this whole carnivore community has helped several people. And even though I don't like Carrie Mann's private club, I think that's kind of scammy, in my opinion, where you're getting people to spend, $50 a month to be in some healing humanity crap community. I do like him. I think he's a good person. And I think he's a very good part of the carnivore community. And everybody that I know that has met him in person likes him. So, again, I have a lot of respect for him. And just because I criticize something that a person does, doesn't mean that I'm criticizing the person personally. Okay. And let's see. Terry Sue says, I used to like fast food now, and now all of them are gross. Now, see, this is what it is. My only go-to rarely is a filet of fish at McDonald's or a Polish sandwich, a Wiener Schnitzel a couple of years on a whim. Well, you know what? You might want to check out like the Chris Cooking Nashville channel because you can create stuff very similar to that using carnivore foods. That's really nice. Okay. So let's see. And Lori's Carnivore Story says, I think Maggie is already working the ranch after broken ribs and other injuries. It's insane. I really wish I could meet her. I don't think I'm going to get to meet most people because I'm too poor to travel. But I would like to. And I think once I move and I have another home that's a lot more secure, hopefully I'll have some friends that can watch it when I'm gone. I'm thinking about getting my old bus fired up. I have a 1972 school bus that used to run on wood just like my truck did. And what I'd probably do is hook up the trailer, take a big load of wood, and just start going to my farm friends and maybe hit one farm. I'd probably go in the summertime in hay season, maybe work at one farm for a week, then hit the other one and the other one, and work my way up. Maybe I'll work my way north. Who knows? But, yeah, and that would be kind of fun. I still have the bus here. I haven't shown it. It's buried in the backyard. It's rusty, but I can probably fix it. And Carnivore Muscle says, I had dinner with Anthony Chafee. He spent most of his time speaking with me, a very true gentleman. He did have steak and strawberries? Strawberries on his menu order. Anthony Chafee would eat a strawberry? Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. That's amazing. Well, good thing, Jonathan. I'm glad that you were able to meet up with him. I have yet to meet up with any of the famous carnivores. So far, the only carnivore I've met is my friend Russ Mitchell, and we went to the Rodizio Steakhouse down the street from here. I had a great time with him, and every 2 weeks I'm on his channel as co-host, and, I pop in every now and then. So, yeah, but that's it. So out of the whole carnivore community, only one. No one has taken the initiative besides him to come to Miami. But he is also making sure that I make it to Tampa in November to the, what do they call that? It's a keto conference or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see how many people I can meet there. That'll be interesting. Terry Sue says the Partridge Family bus. Do it. That's pretty much what it is. Although the Partridge Family is an older bus. This is 72. Note to self, never travel in a safe transport as Rick. Okay. All right. So let me do a little something here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play a little game. Oops. Okay. We'll just move this over here. Let's see if I can crash my computer. Did I crash my computer? No, I did not. Up, 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 up. Yeah, there's only so many options you can have here. I'm going to fiddle around with this. I'll get this thing to work one way or the other. It seems like I've got the whole thing going crazy. Let me close all this. Yeah, I've kind of closed that there. There we go. Let me switch the scene. I might as well learn with you because I'm not worried about making mistakes. As was said, my YouTube monetization is so high, I can't, whatever. The smell. Okay. You guys would crack me up in her yard. Note to self. All right. The smell. Vegetable eater. Yeah, right? I have vegan friends, and I can tell you some of them actually take pride in how many farts they can produce. You've seen me on live streams for hours at a time, and I have yet to been able to produce any farts. That's not my specialty. Now, people say, well, that's because you can't produce farts. Well, I got news for you. I can. I did as a kid all the time. I was known as SPD, silent but deadly, but I could also make some loud ones. And when I went plant-based in 1993, I learned the true meaning of the word never trust a fart, because I thought it was funny doing all the farts until I had, let's say, an accident. You talk about an accident on carnivore, well, an accident on a plant-based diet is far worse. And it really is a shame that I ended up getting so sick. But then again, I think it actually helped me, because can you imagine if I was on the carnivore diet in 83, in 93 I started the plant-based diet. What would have happened if I didn't get sick on the plant-based diet? If I didn't get that horrible flu with that sore throat that I could barely breathe at night, and the sinus problem getting 10 times worse, and then getting constant diarrhea and being sick all the time and having to run to a toilet and eventually just burning out. Well, I could have stayed on the plant-based diet, and who knows what I'd look like now. I might look like Michael Greger. Can you imagine if I look like Michael Greger? Now, again, I make fun of myself all the time because I'm skinny. I mean, obviously, I don't have the muscles that most people have. I have basically, it's solid, but it's small. But can you imagine a vegan, a vegan trying to make a muscle at the age of 56? I'll be 57 in June. So I'm getting old, but I feel great, I can hop on my bicycle, go anywhere I want to. And it's just so, I don't know how to put it. It's not amazing. It's reassuring. It's reassuring that after all these years of trying to kill myself with a heart attack, all I've been able to do is give myself very, very interesting living. I mean, think about it. I went on YouTube in 2007 to expose scammers, and I gave up. 2010 gave up. Started posting some YouTube videos in 2021 to try to meet people, but it wasn't until I discovered the carnivore community that I decided I'm going to do longer videos, and I started doing a live stream as of the end of last year, because there's just so many things that have changed, and that's a good thing. All right. Never travel in the same transport as a vegetable eater. Your shirt is still white. Yes, it is, because I haven't left my room. I'm not outside working. Carnivore cured hemorrhoids for me. Wow. Which was an unexpected surprise. It was getting progressively worse, and even a prolapsed hemorrhoid too. I used to make fun of preparation age commercials. I had no idea what it was. but that's just not good. And Carnivore Muscle, I can confirm my bad sounds are about one-tenth of what they were before Carnivore. I can tell you the same thing about my bodybuilder friend before he went carnivore. You know, I used to say it must be the protein powder because this guy was constantly making weird sounds and strange smells and all that stuff. And some of them were really loud. But when he switched to the carnivore diet, that was no longer an issue. So it definitely makes a difference. My dad was the one that always used to have the farts. You know, you walk by the bedroom at night and you hear. My parents slept in separate rooms because of that reason. Because of all the tossing and turning and all the farts. And that's it. Yes, that's better. And then DS111, can you imagine how many people resolve to get surgeries, and yet the remedy is just to quit plant fiber? You got that right. It's really that simple. Isn't that amazing? Okay. Internal hemorrhoids. Wow. Again, I've avoided a lot of things that a lot of other people I know have had to deal with. And I think a lot of it is due to the carnivore diet. I don't even know what a hemorrhoid is. I've never had constipation in my life. I've never had, a lot of these other issues. I've never had respiratory issues. I've never had skin issues. I was the only kid that went to school and never got acne. And you know what? Speaking of school, have you ever seen a picture of me in junior high in 1983? Want to check one out? Let me go back over here and see if I can find the picture. Okay. Well, this is great. This is great. Yes, my youngest was just diagnosed with internal hemorrhoids. Wow. And Carnivore Muscle, this is the kind of comments that I really appreciate. These live streams are honestly one of the highlights of my week. Today isn't a good day with my issues, but Rick, you always deliver a good laugh and some interesting stories. And that's what I'm here for. That's why I call myself the Carnivore Quack. I'm not trying to be your carnivore expert. I am your Carnivore Quack. Okay. And Thomas says, hi, left for a bit. How's everyone? We're doing good. Do you eat high-fat carnivore meat? Yes, I do. The more fat, the better. If it comes in a box and turns into food, you shouldn't eat it. That's a good advice. My vegan son has been diagnosed with neurogenic bladder. Wow, I never heard of that. It's not cool, and I see no cure for that. Oh, that's the one. This is the greatest thing since Saturday morning cartoons. Well, we could put some of them on there, too. I wish I could animate. I'd make some carnivore cartoons. But let me see if I can find my picture from junior high. You might actually appreciate this. No, I don't think it's in this file. But it's on my YouTube comments. In fact, let me go to YouTube. Let's check this out together. I'm glad that this is partially working. I will get this the way I want it. It's only a matter of time. It's like Jonathan says, Rick always finds a way. I like going the hard way. That's kind of my way of doing it. I just think that when you do something too easy, it takes away from you. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are having such a difficult time. If you don't try something, you'll never... Oh. There we go. All right. Let me hit this over here, and let's see what we have. All right. Let me switch the scene. Now, here I am. Now, if you go to my YouTube page, we can go over here and we will look for posts. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. There we go. Now, if you've never been to the infrequent posts I put, you can see over here. This is my friend. If you haven't seen him, you know who that is. This was a car that I saw when I was driving around. Here's a picture of me with my friend. There's a picture of me when I was 30 years old. And here's another one in my backyard. Let's see. Here we go. Now, have you seen this? This is 1983. This would be like, I guess, when they take the pictures, I don't know if it was towards March or April, around this time of the year. So here I am. Now, where am I? This is my drama class that I was in. See this kid right here? That's me. Now, how in the world could the shortest, and I was the shortest boy compared to everybody. Look at these other boys. Look at that. Look at the girls. Look at me. I mean, seriously. This kid over here, John, was a friend of mine later when I was in high school. I ended up being taller than him. So, explain to me how in the world can somebody that is this short in 1983 become the tallest kid in high school? How does that happen? It's not genetic. My parents were not tall. So what caused it? I don't know. Was it the carnivore diet? Could be. Could be a genetic freak. But wouldn't it be the case that if I was naturally tall, like my friend over here, look, he was taller than everybody else. But look at me. So, if anybody has an idea how I went from being one of the shortest kids in school to being the tallest, how did that happen? Now, you could say, well, you know, carnivore diet, that's speculation or whatever. But honestly, it doesn't make sense otherwise. I didn't do anything else different. And as you can see back then, I hadn't transformed into that 50s look yet. Now, I can't make this one bigger, but you see the shirt that I'm wearing and the hairstyle, I was trying to imitate the other kids. But when I switched to high school, I went full 50s. As they say, I went happy days. And my whole life changed. So I think out of all the carnivore experiences, although mine is not well documented, I think it is probably one of the most extreme. And for any of you that are doubting the power of the carnivore diet, remember, you're starting from a different position. Very few people started at the age of 15. 15 is the age where you start to grow. What would have happened if I would have stayed on the standard American diet? Even though we were eating healthier foods, we had the wheat germ and the whole wheat bread and all that stuff. Explain to me what would happen. I may have been still short. I may be, to this day, very short and probably skinny. I might have become overweight. I might be like, now, a lot of these kids, now some of them I've actually seen, and they look nothing like they did back then. But if you look at me, you can see I'm pretty similar. Not that big of a difference. So anyway, if you can give me some ideas, I would be curious about that. But anyway, you can look in my YouTube page and you'll see that I've made several posts. I don't make as much as I should because, again, YouTube is a hobby for me. I'm not trying to get a bunch of viewers. Now, you got to admit, this is a cute picture. I mean, anybody that doesn't think that's a cute picture is a pretty sad person. Look at that cute little black kitty. This is a cute little kitten. Look at that face. And then, of course, you can see how much I love my cat. My cat is so friendly, he will not leave me alone. Now, I have the door shut. If I open the door to my room, he will find me, and he will be here on camera, which I always do. It's one of those things I like to do. I get a lot of interesting comments. You can see. Yeah, not as much as you would think. But anyway, you won't get heart disease if you don't eat carbs and processed food. You need several processes to take place to have an atherome. And you need carbo. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure who that is, but I do comment on a lot of channels, so I get a lot of comments back. See? Interesting. Well, again, I enjoy the interaction because I'm the strange one, and people that know me, they know that I'm strange, and I think one of the reasons I have some long-term friends is because I'm not aggravating them. I'm actually very relaxed in most cases. You can see me here with my cat, how much I love my cat. And look, this is me. This is like a week ago. What is it? 3 weeks ago? And this is me back in 1998. Do you really see a lot of difference? 98? 2025. I don't think I'm doing that bad, honestly. When I look at other people and I look at myself, say, you know, Rick, you're not doing that bad. You still have that 98 shirt. You know, it eventually wore out. I think I got rid of it. But I do have a couple of old shirts. I still have one from high school, and I can wear it. In fact, let me show you another shirt from 98 that you've already seen. Oh, hold on. Get this camera back here. All right. Let me switch scenes here. This shirt over here, you can see, this is also from 1998. It's the only remaining one I have. That's why sometimes I'll wear it. It's orange. It's bright. They call this the picnic shirt. That's it. Okay. So what do we got here now? All right. No difference. See? You look like your own older brother in the more recent picture. Exactly. And you know how many years that's been? That picture was taken in 98. That's a long time. So I'm just really happy that I haven't changed much. And again, the vegans can criticize me. People can say, Rick, you look terrible. You look unhealthy. But you look, they say, oh, your eyes are dark. Well, look at the picture of me back then. See, look at my eyes. They're exactly the same. And there was one girl that was after me. She says, oh, I like that look. I like that, kind of dark-eyed look or whatever it is. So how many people do you know that still look almost the same? And here's a picture of me further out. You can see same physique, no gut, lean, and that's back then. I think this was also, and this might be a year later, because I know I put up that traffic light in the backyard. And you know it's my home because, as you can see, everywhere I've lived, I've always had a bunch of trees. That's one of the things. I'm really a plant fanatic. I love plants. And this is what really blows people's mind. It's like, Rick, how in the world can you live with all these plants when you're a carnivore? I said, dude, carnivore depends on plants. A carnivore is more plant-based than a vegan. And it baffles their mind. It's like, wow. So anyway, excuse me. All right, so yeah, let's hit these over here. Now, I noticed that with the comments, let's see. See, and a lot of times when I comment, I commented on a vegan channel and they banned me. You know how that works. This was me at age 25, if you haven't seen it, with a friend of mine that I work with. You can see still, I had a mustache back then. I got rid of the mustache when I turned 30. I tried to grow the mustache, and you can see I look pretty skinny. That's just after I finished the plant-based diet. See that? So I had finished the plant-based diet like a couple months before that, and that's what I look like. So the plant-based diet took its toll on me. But within a year, I grew back to what I was before that. Excuse me. There's another picture of me from that time. Okay. I see a comment. Yeah, this tree, this was after Hurricane Andrew. This was a year after Andrew. The tree was like stripped and half dead and all that. That poinciana tree is still there. It's just much larger. And there's a picture of me, also around 98, in this exact same room. And again, you can see my face is still dark around there. There's the hair that I have. And, yeah, there I am. So you can look at the history of me, and you can see. Now, again, you can see back a year ago I was on Carrie's live stream, and then there's some polls, and I put this interesting picture somebody sent me about Florida, and you can see right here we have a Muscovy duck flying, and look at this. So he says, Rick, you got to have this because there are two things there I like to eat. There's one, there's the other. So that's it. Anyway, so there's not a lot of posts on my page, but you can see there are pictures of me. And if you're one of those people that wants to see, and again, you know, my hairstyle does vary a little bit, but it's been about the same. I'm not that well documented, but I'm out there. Now, let's see. We have some comments here. Let me see if I can get, let me go back here. All right. Okay. All right. All right. This live stream is the best. Okay, that's the default thing. All right. Let's hit these comments again. Okay, what am I doing? Okay. There you go. You look like your own older brother in the more recent picture. Well, there you go. Thank you very much. Your hair looks a little fuller. That's about it. We love your picnic table shirts. There you go. That's part of my style. Have you ever tried South African? No, I haven't. I'm not even sure what that is. I'll have to look that up. It's going to be live at 12 p.m. Well, let's see if we can end this live stream before that, because check out Thomas. I see he's putting himself out there, and you know what? Good for him. Good for him. I mean, he was losing his toes, and he got a sore in his foot. He would have lost, he could have lost his limbs. Thank God that he was able to find the carnivore diet. He looks like a good person anyway, so let's support him. Let's support each other. Okay, how old are you now? You look 45 max. I am 56. I will be 57 in June. Thank you very much. Did the girls chase you, Rick? Yes, a lot of them did, believe it or not. I found that really shocking because, I don't know. But yeah, a lot of girls chased me. The problem is I usually ran away because I didn't want anything to do with them. Miami women are not exactly attractive, let's put it that way. And they tend to be very needy, and they tend to be, I don't know how to describe it. And again, I'm not saying that all women are like that. I'm just saying that Miami women are like that. I call them the Cuban princess, you know. And the thing is, I joke, I said, look, if you want to see what they're going to look like in a few years, check out their mama. That's exactly what they're going to look like. And if they live long enough, it'll be just like a la abuela. You see abuela, that's what they're going to look like. So, yeah, I avoid them. That's a little bit of a problem there. Okay, aren't you like 93 or so? Yes, you are correct. I am 50. I will be 57. Yeah, that was because that was in Hurricane Andrew. Okay, similar to you. He's only 6'3". Wow. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Tree falls on it. Nope, that tree was dead. I eventually cut it down. Were your parents, grandparents, uncles tall? No, they were not. My mother was about maybe 5'6", and my dad was about 5'8" or 9", somewhere around there. Okay. Well, he has size 15 feet, and they are Egyptian shaped. So I think he's from the land of the giants way back during pyramid times. Okay. Nice to see so many familiar names in this chat. That's because this is where you find only the most elite of the carnivore chatters. You will not find any of the, let's say, run-of-the-mill, the scammers. All those people, they leave. I don't have to throw them out. They leave on their own because they can't stand being around this much high-quality, high-end, elite people. So, maybe so. Yep. It's a dried beef sausage in a casing. Hard to pronounce. I'm going to have to try that out. That sounds interesting. Those exotic meat-based foods are fun. Thank you, Rick. Oh, you deserve it. You deserve it. And look who else is here. It's Bob. Semi-retired Bob, off-grid carnivore. And again, if you're not watching Bob's channel, you should. He's very interesting. You can see him go for a walk. Sometimes he does dancing. He works at a mini golf course at times. And yeah, he's another one that had heart disease and turned it around with the carnivore diet. He's out there cutting his grass, doing work around the house. Check out Bob. And eventually, he's going to be making a camp out in the desert. So I'm looking forward to it, honestly. Latinas gain a lot of weight due to high carb diet. You got that right. Oh my goodness, it's pretty bad. I can show you some of my neighbors here, but I don't want to embarrass them on the internet. It's nice to be elite. Yes, it is. That's right. It isn't about quantity. It's about the quality. That is correct. I don't need a lot of followers because I'm not making money off of this channel. And Carnivore Transformer is here. Hey, Rick, I'm going to try to check out your interview. We'll get this thing over with. I don't want to be here all day, although I probably would. If this was real life, and let's say I had the home I want to build with the bowling lanes and the pinball machines and the ATVs and all the other stuff, and I had my carnivore friends come over, I have a feeling we'd be having lots of fun, and hopefully nobody would get hurt. Okay, let's see. And they're saying hi. I emailed you about the coach. Okay. Good. That's it. Share the advice because there's a wealth of knowledge here. And hello, everyone. I need to buy a Dodge, right? I'm still here too. Move to my other account. Okay. Clickbait content. Yes, I agree with that. And again, if you're not watching Carnivore Muscle, please do. You're missing out. There's a lot of good information there. You know, don't waste your time on these other YouTube channels that just tell you lies. Go there for the truth. You need it. Walking videos or riding? Yes. I'm going to try to do some more of those too. Bring out Milton. That's what I need to do. I need to open the door and let in El Toro. Da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, let's see if Milton is waiting. Oh, Milton, where are you? Come here, little Milton. Oh, Milton. Come on. Let's go. There he goes. Look at that cutie. Oh, my goodness. You are such a sweetheart. Oh, look at that. Buddy. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Milton, come here. Oh my goodness. Milton. Milton, come on. Milton. Milton. Where are you? Come here. Come on, little powder puff. Time for Milton. It's time for the Milton. It's time for the Milton. There we go. Okay. So, come on down. It's time for The Price is Right. Okay. So let me go ahead and switch the scene, and there we go. Oh, Milton. He's looking outside. There's a cat out there, and he's, I don't know if it's a male or female. If it's a male cat, he wants to fight. If it's a female, he wants to mate. Come on, Milton. No. Stay away from the computer. Come here. Come on. Say hi to your friends. Come on. There's that little head. Come on. Yeah, come here, baby. Sweet little baby. Okay. Look at that cute little kitten. Oh, there we go. There he is. You're such a cute little kitten. Look at you. Look at that face. Oh, you sweetie. Yes, you are. Yeah. I love my kitten. He's so cute. Look at that. Look at that cute little thing. My friend George was telling me, he said, look at those paws. Look at that long tail. This is going to be a big cat. Every cat I've ever had was a big cat. Oh, he's such a cute little kitten. He's a nice pet. You see how he relaxes when he sits on me? He's really nice. Yeah. You're a sweetheart. I love my cat. That's like, you watch on Homestead How, you got, I think Harry has a cat also, and Bill Knott with his cat Daisy. Well, I think my cat is very suited to me. He's a black menace. Look at how relaxed he is. Look at that. Every time I hold him, he just wants to be my friend. He is. It's funny. It really is funny. And that's the funny thing about all my cats. They all turn into just be, they turn into be friendly and lovable. But then what eventually happens, they become defensive. And then he really just wants to protect me. That's the other thing. Any other animal comes around, he's going to fight them off. And my cats have always been like that. So we'll put you over here, let you do your thing. He doesn't bother me. I lock him out of the room at night. Otherwise, he would do that. But, what a cute cat. I love this cat. He's so funny. Let's see these comments. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I remember that channel. Fix the camera. I didn't know there was anything wrong with the camera. I'm grateful you address each of us individually. Well, that's what I'm here for. That's why I don't have a gigantic channel. I have an elite club. That's what it is. And unlike a lot of the other so-called clubs, mine is free. I don't charge admission. But what I do, I set up an environment that excludes the people that are not worth being here. They leave on their own. They either get bored, frustrated, or whatever, and they are gone. But on the other hand, we're still here. Yep. No, he's been calming down quite a bit. Not merely cattle providing revenue stream. That is correct, because my revenue stream from YouTube is 0. I even put in for monetization, but they never approved it. I think I'm too controversial for YouTube. Milton always has a trick of, yes, he does. Milton Starl. He is getting big. That's right. That's right, Bob. Not the kitten so much anymore. He's still kitten-like. He hasn't gone into a loud meow. He still has a kitten meow. And his nuts aren't that big yet, but they'll be coming off soon. I try to let him grow as long as possible until he becomes difficult, and then the nuts come off. Okay. Sorry, partners. Oh, he has that moment too, That's the thing. All right. T-shirt of you and Milton like Bill Knott. That would be interesting. I don't think anybody would buy it, but it would be interesting. Yes, he is. He's been friendly to my friends. Really nice. That'd be funny to put a shirt on that cat. He'd probably rip it off. Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I've been doing, that's one of the things I started doing when I was on YouTube. I was showing everybody how I produce fuel. And you can see I'm doing some videos now on how I make soap. I was burning my yard trash and turning it into soap. Okay. Let us know what's going on with your gas stove now that we know you use weird gas. Makes me curious. I'm going to have to do that. Hopefully YouTube won't delete it like they did the last time, but we'll see. Okay. That's right. That's it. Remember, the goal of the heart attack diet is not just to get a heart attack, but to get the heart attack when you're as healthy and strong as possible. That's the whole idea of the heart attack diet. Because you could eat duck food, smoke cigarettes, and drink alcohol and whatever, and get a heart attack while you're falling apart. But you want to get the heart attack when you're at your peak. That's the secret of Rick's heart attack diet. Mm-hmm. Hey, there you go. That's possible. But who wants to watch a black cat? Yeah. Look at that cat. That's cute. I could do that too. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. And look who's here. It's Dustin. Again, if you haven't checked him out, 7:30 and Sunday morning, you can find Dustin and his channel. And he's friends with Chris Cooking Nashville. And they both do different types of cooking. So if you ever want to get imitation duck food made from carnivore food, check him out. You never know. Our cat's meow is sort of like whack whack. I think that'd be a normal meow from him. Probably. He doesn't make much noise, and I've never seen him hiss, ever. He's always like super friendly. Now he does get a little wild at times and attacks. He loves to jump and attack my leg and play with stuff, but that's something there. Radiokeratotomy, yeah, for eyes. The soap video, yes, I will be making that. The problem is I've been really busy, and that took 3 days for that fire to finally burn down. I'm going to try to do that today if I can. Okay. Would you ever take on another fur ball? Maybe after I move. I mean, I really didn't want to take this little guy on because I don't have a lot of money to feed him, but, one is okay for now. Once I get to the point where I have better income and less expenses, I may have more. I've had up to 3 cats at a time. I've had a dog also. Cats are nice because they pretty much take care of themselves. Except for my cats, they tend to follow me everywhere. I guess because I'm a carnivore, the cats love to be around me. That must be what it is. Yeah, but they're kind of fun when you have 2 sometimes until they get into a 2 or 3-way cat fight. Then you got to use water, or I had to use a fire extinguisher one time to break up my 3-way cat fight. They eventually became friends, though. During weekdays around 9 a.m. I have to check that out. Sometimes not. That's right. Cats have a tendency to go and follow you, and of course they do multiply. Yes, there are. There are Muscovy ducks, but only in like the populated areas. If you live in a rural area, they can't survive because the predators eat them all up. But in some of the cities, I know Pensacola has them. I've seen them around Jacksonville and Apalachicola. I've seen them around cities, towns where there's not a lot of predators. And the thing is that I know my friend in Minnesota, he has a neighbor that raises Muscovy ducks. They have a heated duck house. So you can have ducks anywhere in the U.S., no problem. All you have to do is give them the right conditions. And what I'll do, hopefully I'll stay in Florida. Once this real estate bubble blows up or we get a major hurricane, I'll just go a little bit upstate. But if I do leave Florida and go to another state, I may actually build what would be a conservatory, or you call a greenhouse or conservatory. They used to have in those old houses. You'd have a lean-to or an arch roof and with glass in it. And I'd probably set up a yard like mine. My yard's not that big. I mean, that front yard is only like maybe 25 by 40, so I could have a 25 by 40 greenhouse, and even if I lived in the frozen north like my friend does, I could still have my tropical plants, and the ducks could hang around in there too. So, and of course, well, he hasn't encountered any ducks yet, but my other cats definitely they stayed away from the big, especially the big male ducks. I had my cat Garfield one time tried to eat one of the female ducks because he loved to eat birds. But he found out the hard way that they have large wings and they have claws. So that's something, you might want to do. Have you ever tried red mullet? A long time ago. But I used to eat a lot of seafood. It was mostly snapper, grouper, and I had some catfish from now and then. Whatever I could find, that's what it was. So anyway, that's great. I'm super happy that we have this group and we've been able to do all these things. Now, I need to check out how many people do we have. Ow, stop that. Scratching something. Let's see. Okay. Wow. All right. I have 28 likes. I have 34 people watching now. See, one of the great things about my YouTube channel, I don't get hundreds of people like a lot of them do, so I have time to address all the comments. And I'm really pleased with all of you. I feel that there are some people who they respond to all my videos. There's like 3 people that constantly respond to my videos. And then there's a few of you here that I've collaborated with. And I haven't met anyone in person yet, but I'm hoping to eventually. It's amazing the participation I've been able to get, being one of the least channels. And some of them, some of them have millions of viewers. And the thing I've noticed is that most of the higher subscriber channels tend to be scammers. I guess people like being scammed. And there's some good people out there that have a lot of subscribers. I mean, obviously you got Dr. Chafee and Sean Baker and all that. But on my channel, because I don't have anything that people really want, I think most people just sort of, it's either they like me or they don't. So I might be able to reach 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but I doubt it. I average about 1 new subscriber a day. And I'm just hoping that of all those people, at least a few of them are using some of my ideas to improve their life. Because remember, the amount of time we have on the earth is determined at the moment that we go from a sperm and an egg to whatever cells we are. And that's a maximum time. There's nothing we can do to make it any longer. The only thing we can do is shorten it by bad habits, duck food, alcohol, stress, whatever. And stress is also a killer. I think it might actually be as bad as duck food, because I know people that didn't eat that well and they still lived in their 90s, but they kept their stress level down. So I think it's a combination of things. I think it's more of a lifestyle than anything else. All right, so let's see what else we have. Okay. Now, where did that go? Oh. Okay. Let's catch up on the week. I appreciate this show. That's it. I don't want to do it every day. I just don't have the time. I work for a living. What's for breakfast after you fix the stove? Well, it's not going to be eggs because I haven't gotten any yet, but I'm hoping soon I will. I guess it'll just be some heart attack chicken. That's pretty much all I have, or maybe some of that pork that was cheap. I agree with that too. Yep. Well, everything's more expensive in California. That's just the way it is. They seem to be able to mess things up. That's what it is here. Complete crap. I will not pay any more than $2 for a dozen of crap eggs at this point. I'm holding the line. I gave up butter. I gave up bacon. And now I've given up eggs. I have no choice. I have to, I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyway, and if I grab an iguana, I grabbed an iguana a couple days ago, and that helps. So that's it. Right. I do that too. Yes, it is. I always do. I try to keep at least a month's worth of food in storage. You got that right. Okay. At least you're getting free-range eggs. That's good. The only thing you can get around here that's free-range is two-legged pigs, and that's it. There's no farms or animals anywhere here. Yeah, if you fry them in beef tallow or lard, then you'll never get tired of them. Well, what can we do? There's a lot of things we can do, and I think since we live in a world that is obviously run by kleptocrats, central bankers, and all the other crooks, that we're never going to get rid of them. They're untouchable. There's nothing we can do to get rid of them. But what we can try to do is try to starve them of their power, and they get their power from us. Every time you go into debt, every time you buy their crappy corporate products, you're putting money in their pocket. So the thing to do, you got to remember, all of us at the bottom are being taken advantage of. So the person that produces your food is a victim of those people as much as we are, maybe more. Every farmer I've ever known has always been hard up for money, saddled with debt. And that's what most other people are. So what we have to do is to cut the middleman. If we can figure out how to directly connect with our farmers and ranchers, and we can maybe raise some of our own food, we can work against the system. That's the key. Yeah, everybody's with this inflation. That's ridiculous. I haven't seen the jumbos anyway. This is ridiculous. It is. It's a shame. What's happened is that we have allowed a broken down system that is controlled by debt to rule our lives. And this is the other thing. Besides the carnivore diet, as you know, I am very much into the sustainable living and anti-central banker mentality. I think that's one of the reasons why YouTube has kind of ignored me, because I make a lot of comments on these other channels about how bad the central bankers are, how destructive they are, how much damage they've done to us. And they don't want to hear that, because that's what keeps them going. Without the central bankers and their limitless debt, tech companies would disappear. Most tech companies never make a real profit. They're basically just borrowing money to spend the money and then buying back their own stock to create more so-called assets that they can use to borrow money. That's what we call the infinite money glitch. And those of us that work for a living have to be exploited to keep the system going. So they try to keep our wages down, and then they try to do, they just basically, they do everything they can to keep us down. Because remember, there's nothing that you can do. Well, there is something you can do, but there's nothing you can do to get rid of them. The only thing you can do is cut off their power. It's like if you have a bulldozer coming at you, you're not going to be able to stand there and stop it. But if you took a rifle and you shot the fuel line, eventually the fuel would run out and it would stop. And then you can go and take advantage of it for yourself. And that's really what I'm trying to say. All right. I don't have a chicken house because poultry is illegal here. They will fine you $250 a day if you have a poultry house. So if I did that, I would have to disguise it as something else. I get away with the ducks because I tell them they're not mine. They just roam the neighborhood. And the last time that they tried to find me, code enforcement ended up wearing a couple of rotten Muscovy duck eggs while they were sitting in their car trying to write it up. Then there was the police and all the other things. But, I always find a way out of the problem. Now, let's get to some of these key comments here. You see this? Rick emphasized the key pillars: food, shelter, sensible living standards, sunlight, homegrown foods, and duck feed, etc. That's right. That's how we beat the system. We don't beat the system by fighting it directly. It's like termites in a building. If the termites came out, they would be smashed instantly, but they slowly eat away at the building until one day it collapses. The corrupt system depends on us. If we don't support it, it will fail, period. How do they get resources from us? Well, they have different ways of doing it. They have taxation because they run the governments. So what do? We have less income, so we pay less taxes. We keep our homes as dumpy as possible, so that way you can't, they can't tax you on that much property value. Now, if you're really smart and you do what I want to do, you get your people together, you find one county in this country, you get all your people into the county commission, and you get them in the sheriff's department, and you get them in all the government offices, and then your property assessor, well, that's what Freudian slip there, keeps the value low. So your home is now worth less than $50,000. You don't pay any tax. There are ways of doing it. It's like organized crime used to do, but on the good side. Remember how organized crime used to have its network of corruption, and they were able to survive despite all the efforts that were made to remove them? It's like old-time Las Vegas. Everybody talks about how great it was because it was cheap, You could go there because they were skimming the money off the casinos. So they'd give you a good deal on a meal. They'd give you free entertainment. And it was a lot better than it is now. Now it looks like a crap. A big overpriced box. But back then, free parking. If you gamble, you get free drinks and free food, whatever, because they were skimming the money off of the gambling proceeds. So we can learn from that, but in a good way. If you have your people in the county, you have your farmer friends, and remember, you may be a mechanic, you may be electronics technician, you may be into web development and all that. You can help each other out. As long as you don't have to spend any US dollars, they can't tax you, and that's it. So just a little something to think about. All right. Okay. I'll have to check Publix because every time I go there, they seem to have the most overpriced crap you could ever imagine. Yeah, there you go. There's no room for chickens. Well, that's it. But the thing is that the government controls us. We don't control it. It's a government of the people, not the government for the people. And you can't grow weed. Now, that's another thing. If it's legal, I tell everybody, if it really was legal, I could plant it in the front yard and grow it. Now, I wouldn't use that, but I know a lot of people that do. I have friends that use cannabis to treat chronic conditions. And again, I have nothing against plants. Just because I don't want to use it doesn't mean that other people shouldn't. I know several people that have serious issues that would benefit greatly from cannabis. Even though I don't recommend smoking pot, today there are extracts and there's even a vaporizer. If you want to get a vapor, instead of burning plant material and tarring up your lungs, get yourself a vaporizer and vaporize your cannabis. If you're dealing with chronic pain and you're dealing with anxiety and all that, cannabis can really help you out. Extremely cheap in the U.S. Oh, there you go, see? Paying 3 times more for my prescription. And see, if it was legal, you would be able to grow it yourself, and then you could get in some good time outside, gardening, grow it in the growing season, and then store it. That's it. My town has nothing but Indian casinos and medical offices. See what I mean? Beef is sky high. Yeah, I believe me, I know exactly what you're talking about. But the reality is, we know what the problem is. The problem is, not all of us know how to fight against it. And one thing that I tell everybody, the system is established. For you to battle the system on its own terms, you will always lose. And I mean always. It's like trying to argue with the police. They will always abuse you. They'll probably kill you and they'll get away with it. But if you can avoid the problem, if you see the danger coming ahead, like I do, you're driving down the road and you see they have one of those traffic checkpoints. Well, if you turn around, they'll probably hassle you. So what do? I pull off on the side of the road, I open the hood, and then I pretend like my car broke down. And eventually the cop will come around. Oh, is there a problem? Yeah, my car won't start. Can you help me? Oh, no, we can't do that. And then they leave. And that's it. You have to put yourself out there as someone who's not a threat to them, but at the same time, they can't use you. So you have to figure out how to get in that range where you're there. They look to you as someone that's not worth messing with. You don't have money. There's nothing you can steal. You don't have any influence. There's nothing that they can criticize you for, and that's it. Like I am on YouTube. No one's out there. You don't see any of the prominent vegans saying, oh, this Rick guy, they're trashing everybody else. They trashed, who did they trash? They've trashed several of the carnivore channels. I'm trying to think of what was the most recent one they did. Well, even the Chris Cooking guy, they trashed him. They always trash all the prominent carnivore or anyone that has more than, let's say, 50,000 viewers. But when you have as few viewers as I do, they don't bother you. It's just not one of those things. You're not going to see Michael Greger out there critiquing me or any of these other, vegan influencers critiquing me. Because what are they going to do? They can look at pictures of me now, old pictures of me. They can see me speak. They can see that my message has been consistent. I'm not promoting anything. There's nothing that I have there that I can offer you that you don't already know. And that's it. And I don't criticize even in the carnivore community. There's a few scammers. There's a few out there that are making money off of it. I try to concentrate on their good points because even though some of them are what I would consider to be snake oil salesmen, there's no advantage for me to bring them out. What I like to do, I like to be, let's say, mild about it, and I will refrain from criticizing anyone because I know that eventually it's just like the coyote and the roadrunner. You remember every time Wile E. Coyote, he always got beaten by the roadrunner. But when something was succeeding, let's say that he figured out how to fly with his wings and he's got his eyes closed and he's just happy and then bam, right into the cliff. Or he goes off the cliff, everything's good until he looks down. Oh, Milton woke up. Or that rock is falling and he pulls out this teeny little umbrella that covers his head. Boom. And that's what happens to every one of these people. Every one of these people that's out there, popular, making money, whatever, they always have that crash, that burnout, and that's it. And that's one of those things that I know is going to happen. But for the rest of us, I'm not promoting anything. I'm not going out there and saying, you have to eat like me. You have to eat at least one duck and iguana every day, and that's it. So that's kind of the difference, When you look at my channel, you're not looking to me as a way to get rich because you're not going to get rich imitating me. You're going to be poor like me. You're not going to become strong, muscular. You're not going to attract women. And if you're like me, you won't even want them. So what's the point? But what you will do, you will look at the world in a completely different way, and it'll be impossible for someone to scam you. And that's the one thing about me. I've had so many people try to sell me things and do things and all that. No one has ever been able to scam me in my entire life. I've never been taken advantage of. Now, when I was a kid, some of the other kids, they tried to beat me up. I always found a way out of it. But no one's ever taken any money from me because I know I can tell a scammer, the fast-talking, the pushy salesman, and I tell them. And I've gone many times as a joke with friends to buy a new car. I went one time like 20-something years ago. I went to the Dodge dealer when they came out with the new Challenger, and I drove my old 69 Charger over there, falling apart. And I go over there, and this guy's pushing hard to get me to buy this car. And I'm like, man, I tell you what, if you can give me a car that has chrome bumpers, I'll buy a car from you. And that's it. And he looked at me like, because I know where the weakness is. I know the things that they won't do. I want chrome bumpers. No, we don't offer that. Well, then I don't want your car, period. And you can have it any way you want. Okay. It's like Burger King used to say, have it your way. Well, that's the way I want it, but you won't give it to me. So I won't buy it. That's it. Simple. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. Ooh. Okay. Hey, if it works, right? I agree with you. That's right. I am definitely not going to start arguing. Now, if somebody calls me out, if they have the nerve to call me out, I will fight back. Because that's the one thing about me. I may be easygoing, but when I'm confronted and I'm in a corner, I'm like a cat. You ever corner a cat? It's bad. I can mess around with Milton all day. He might put his paw out on me, but if he was in a corner and he had nowhere to go, he would attack. Because that's the way cats are. Well, let me tell you something. If I saw a beast like you carrying a cane, I would be scared too. Because with the amount of muscle you have, you would definitely, I wouldn't want to get anywhere near you. I'll tell you right now, when you swing that cane, you probably break it over my head. Yeah, he is. Everybody, when you think about acne, that's it. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Well, that's true. But then again, you know, I know people that actually like size 15 feet. My friend, he's crazy about it. He says I have the best feet that he's ever seen. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. But yeah, I am. That's it. You got that right. That's the problem. And the thing is, despite the fact that I am skinny and people might mistake me for a vegan, I'm a lot stronger. I can give you a story that my friend that saw me do it, he was in shock. I had one time when I was driving home from work, when I was tutoring at the college, the tire went flat in my Charger. And the thing is, you know, of course I was poor then like I am now. I had dry rotted tires, and I went down 107th Avenue, and you know, basically, I went into where the what is that, Kendalltown or whatever this development is. So I go off on the side of the road, and I'm on the roadside. I go to get my floor jack, and I have one of those bumper jacks. Well, because the bumper in my car was rusty, I started jacking up, and it broke, and the car dropped down. Then I said, well, okay, I got the floor, what do you call it, the roller jack, the floor jack. So I started pumping that up, and the rivet that goes to the hydraulic cylinder broke, so the jack didn't work. So I was pissed. I was mad. So I went ahead and I loosened the tire. You know, I loosened the wheel on my car. I had put a block underneath it, so that way it wouldn't fall on the ground totally. So I loosened the tire, was sitting on the block, and I'm thinking, how can I get the tire on there? And I got so mad, I picked up the car from the fender well, lifted it up, and stuck the wheel on there, and somehow it lined up and it went onto the studs. So I lifted up the back of my car from the side, and again, you see how skinny I am. So a friend of mine drives by, and he's seeing me lift up this car. So anyway, I'm putting the nuts on the wheel so it doesn't fall off. So he comes up behind me from the other side. He says, Rick, did I just see you lift the car? Yes. Why? He says, well, you know, it's I can't believe it. How in the world did you lift up your car? I said, my jack was broken. And then, you know, and then on top of that, it's like, well, he looked at it, he's like, yeah, I guess that's it. So, but that's what happened. And it also happened another time. I had another time where I was working with somebody. We were cleaning out a store, and the shelf collapsed. And basically, he was underneath, like, all the shelving, and then there was some metal bars and everything like that. So I was trying to get him out of there. I was pulling on him. He wouldn't come out. He couldn't breathe. So I picked up the shelf frame, picked the whole thing out of there, and I used my leg to push him out. And so after this whole thing was over, we were cleaning up. And he says, how did you get that off of me? Because, it's like I picked it up. So this guy is, built like crazy. And he was trying to pick up those 2 metal bars, and the thing wouldn't lift. And I'm like, you picked this up? I said, yeah, I did. Like, it's crazy. So anyway, yeah, and I've thrown lawnmowers. I had my lawnmower one time. It wouldn't start, and I kept pulling and pulling, and then the cord came out, and I had lost it. I picked up the lawnmower and threw it across the street. My neighbor saw me do that, and she was like in shock because when it hit the ground, a couple of the wheels came off, and the top of the engine came up. Parts went all over the road. It's like, what happened? So I've done things like that. And then recently, when my van broke, the transmission stopped working, I pushed the van an eighth of the mile from the corner. The craziest thing I ever did, I pushed my car half a mile all the way from Miller and 107th to here. Half a mile. And I was pushing and pushing and pushing because the transmission went out. I got home, and I told my mom, said, what happened? I said, oh, my transmission went out. How'd you get home? I pushed the car. I went to my room. I sat down, passed out. That was it. When I woke up, my parents were like, what happened? I'm like, okay. Anyway, okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, yes, I like this. We have a question from Jonathan. Do you think there's any truth to conspiracies? Yes. I think a lot of times people that tend to be creative and artistic tend to be a little mentally off. So I think a lot of times they will put things in there just to see if somebody will catch it. Now, I used to like Disney when I was a kid, but now I don't. So I think there is something to it, but I can't prove it, so it's just an opinion. It's a way to have people watch their stuff. Okay, interesting. We need to get you a cape, lifting the car. Oh, okay. All right. Did you ever cruise your Charger down 79th Street to Miami Beach? I actually used to go to Miami Beach on the MacArthur Causeway. So I don't know if I ever went down 79th Street. Oh, actually, 79th Street, I went there. There's a story about that, but there used to be an immigration building over there. And I had a friend of mine that got his car towed from a shopping center. And I'll tell that story one day. I rigged up my truck with a remote control. There's a whole story behind that. Lifting a car is something Howard Stern would call retard strength. Okay. And look who else is here. Alia Wells. Have you seen her? Now she's with Dr. Kiltz. I guess they're friends now. I think I was the first person she ever interviewed. And she's got an interesting carnivore story. She's also been with Carrie, and teaming up with him. She may have been also one of the ones that came up with the idea for the carnivore documentary. So that's good. So I'm glad you're here. Check her out if you haven't. Very interesting. And Jonathan likes her. There you go. Lori's carnivore story. Yep, that's good. There's probably a sitcom waiting for you in Hollywood. Well, I have a feeling that the establishment, the last person they would ever want on a sitcom would be me, because I work against their system. I don't even watch TV. The only TV I watch at 11 o'clock before I go to bed, I watch the local news. And that's really about it. I'm just not one of those people that really wants to do that, But anyway. Look at that. It's got another question. He's got all the good questions. That's why he's a carnivore elite. I am surprised. I don't think I've asked this. What is your favorite film? My favorite film is the last one I ever went to watch. It's called Moving Violations. You have to see it. If you haven't seen it, I think it's even on YouTube. So there's a film called Moving Violations. And It's got the lady from the Where's the Beef commercial. It's got the guy from the Wild Wild West. Very interesting. Okay. I didn't come up with a documentary idea, but I've helped with the fundraising. You must mean fundraising. I guess. Okay. I don't know who came up with the documentary idea, although it is a bit incomplete. It's only got a few people in it, and it's taking way too long, but I'm sure if it does catch on, there'll probably be more. Oh. Okay. Yes? Okay. That explains it. That's true. Oh, yes. Ah, it's a knife. That's a knife. I'll tell you, when you're a quack, you're always a quack. And as you can see, my little friend over here, he's watching. Now, I don't know why my other camera doesn't work. It's kind of interesting. Oh, well. I guess because I made this one too big. That's probably what it is. I should overlay. I'll play around more with this OBS. It hasn't crashed, so that's good. And let's see. Oh, yes. Yes, he has. And you see, I mean, you can't really see him, but he's right here next to me. He's my little baby. Look at that cute little thing. Yes. When I get cats in the first place, when they're kittens, they're really wild and they're real, cause a lot of problems. But once they grow up, they generally become super friendly. And I've had a lot of people tell me the cats are aloof. They don't want anything to do with you. But every cat I've ever had becomes almost like a puppy dog. And I usually buy a cat harness. And then what I do, I walk my cat like people walk their dog. A lot of the girls around here used to have those little mini dogs. They would walk around. And then here comes Rick with his 20-pound orange cat, Garfield. Big old thing. And it was really funny because I'll never forget, the one gal had this poodle thing, and the poodle thought that it was like super dog. So it comes up to my cat, Garfield, to try to attack him. Oh, it was so funny. And Garfield was just sitting there, up. He was sitting there with his front paws like in the front of him like that and looking. And the dog's like, "Arr, arr, 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 arr." So when the dog tried to nip at him, Garfield, it was so funny. He went, and then he went, just like a lion. And that gal screamed. She was, I'm going to call the police and this and that. I'm like, for what? You attacked my cat. There's a leash law for dogs. There's no leash law for cats. And Garfield got him good. I mean, good. And it was like that. I mean, it was interesting. I just couldn't believe how fast, because he was just sitting there like, and all of a sudden, attack. So cute. Okay. So. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I agree with that. I do not want to see that. Okay. Yes. Yes. You know what? I agree. And this is one of the things that I have against the documentary. The representation of people is extremely poor. They're concentrating on a handful of people, and they're missing out neurodivergent community, which obviously, autism, and that's very true. Now, hopefully, as time goes on, they'll either do that or the rest of us will come up with our own version, because once a carnivore documentary hits a popularity, maybe some of the rest of us will be noticed more. So I'm thinking in terms of the long-term gain. If the carnivore diet doesn't burn out by then, this might actually be a good thing. So I'm not going to criticize it, but I do critique it. Well, that's probably because they're feeding them duck food. They're giving them that cat kibble. They're not giving them real meat like mine does. That's right. I'm not into the whole litter box and price of feeding. That's the problem. I mean, I got to deal with the litter box, but at least the cat poop goes into my gas producer. You got me watching that. Okay. Must be that movie. Mm-hmm. Right. That's the problem. Yeah, you don't want to get your pet eating medicines. That would not be good. Anyway, it's really kind of nice that we have this option, because when I first started on YouTube, there were no lives. What I would do, I would make some of my own YouTube videos. They were limited, I think, to 12 minutes. We couldn't have a really long video. So what I would do, I would use what I called Rick's Lives, which was with a phone. And I had a phone connected, and I had the little audio thing, and I was recording it on the video. So what I would do, I would tell everybody that wanted to, that made comments, that wanted to be in the call-in show. I said, send me an email. And then all I have to do is just go ahead and do that, and that's it. So we would record it, and then I would post it as an individual video. So I never had this type of real-time live. So anyway, we got some comments here. And let's see, 75 month on cat food. Okay, 6. You create a live stream. Yes. I need to head out now. Bye. Well, I'm glad that you were here. And even if you just come here for a short amount of time, I appreciate it, because make sure you click like before you leave. That way you can get my like count up. I'm trying to get up to 100, but I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll give it a shot. So good to have you here. I'm here. What is good? Well, you're good because you're here. That's why. Okay. Okay, good. All right. So it's really nice that we have this opportunity. And again, even though the world is deteriorating around us, the inflation, the corruption, and all that is only getting worse, at the same time, the ability of us to connect is getting better. So we can share information now. A lot of times scammers take advantage of people. What they'll do, they'll put out some made-up idea, get-rich-quick scheme, some way of curing yourself or whatever. And then they want each individual person to buy their program or buy their product. But what would happen if one person bought their product or program and then shared the information with everybody else for free? Wouldn't that destroy their scam? Well, of course it would. And even the central bankers and the governments that are all powerful, they can do whatever they want. If we know what they're doing, how they're inflating the currency, they're playing around, they're destroying our food supply, and we have that information and we share it with each other, now we can actively work against them. Because remember, ultimately, all their power comes from us. All that money that they throw around to ruin our lives, it comes from us buying their products and from us losing it to inflation and taxes. So it's up to us to understand how things really work. And with diet, it's the same thing. That's what I definitely want you to know. Okay. Do you see more interest rate reductions on the horizon, more economic stimulus? Absolutely. 20 trillion of QE is going to start by November. The Federal Reserve has to lower interest rates so that the government can continue to borrow, because if they don't, the interest rates will go up. And the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates by printing money and buying short-term debt. What they do, they manipulate the banking system through what they call overnight rate. And they have to do it. They have no choice, which is going to cause more inflation. So again, we know what they're going to do. Hopefully we can find a way to work against it. And as for stimulus, yes, there will have to be more stimulus checks. Otherwise, there will be a revolution. So there will be stimulus. Now here in Florida, they're talking about eliminating property taxes. That would be a form of economic stimulus that I actually agree with. It will cause the price of homes to inflate, but at the same time, for someone like me and a lot of other people, it would be like an amazing stimulus. Can you imagine $10,000 or more given to me for free? Free, if they got rid of that. But yes, there will be interest rate reductions, I guarantee it, and there will also be more stimulus, and I guarantee there will be more inflation, and it will be underreported. It will cause energy costs to go up and food costs to go up as well. I appreciate you being here as well, and I am glad to give my time because that's all that I have that I can give at this time. Please stack 2 pillows next to you so Milton can perch on them. Okay, I can do that, right, little buddy? Yes, I can. Okay, my butt is numb. Gonna go pull out a ribeye. There you go. Excellent. It was good. Go fix your stove, right? Oh, that would be easy. Sales tax. They just raise the sales tax, and that's fine. With all the people here that spend money like it's going out of style, they could do it. And besides, they could cut the waste as well. Well, there you go. We need to do that. A 40-year Carnivore collaboration ebook. That would be nice. I hope I'll still be around. I seriously doubt it, but hey, I probably would be around. Okay. Now, by popular demand, Milton, we want to raise you up, don't we? Okay. Well, you're kind of sleeping, aren't you? Let me see what we can do here. Want to get up here? Yeah, sweetheart. Let me lower this monitor down a little bit. Okay. There you are. Put a pillow under there. Huh? Come here, buddy. Let's go. Oh, my goodness. Look at that, sweetheart. You're such a sweet cat. I love you so much. You are the best of the best. Here we go. You want to sit down? There you go. Usually when you adjust things, the cat will resist, but I hope you don't have fleas. You're always scratching. You don't go outside that much. Do I have to give you a bath? Ooh, giving a cat a bath is never fun. And I don't need fleas in my bed, you know. You're a flea bag, I don't know. But anyway, there he is. Now you can see my little cutie. Yep. Want to look at the camera, Milton? Come on. There you go. Look at that face. I don't know if you're as popular as Daisy, Bill Knott's cat, because Daisy is, I think, probably a more camera-friendly color, and you're just a black cat. But the thing is, I love black cats because the first cat I ever had was a black cat, and I don't know what it is, but it seems like the black cats are the smartest of all of them. I really don't know what that is about. Oh, you are so cute. Okay. Yes, he does. Glad you like it. Okay. I feed him whatever raw meat I can get my hands on. He pretty much eats only raw, although he will eat some cooked meat. He does like cooked pork for some reason, but I give him raw meat, mostly raw meat, a little bit of cooked meat. I've always found my cats do better with a primary diet of raw meat. And you are a sweetheart, aren't you? He's over there giving himself his bath. Now again, cats don't go in the water, but they do lick themselves, so I guess technically he's giving a bath. What? What's the matter, huh? You good kitten? Yeah, you're a good kitten, aren't you? People used to tell me, aren't you afraid the cat's going to scratch your eyes out? My cats have never scratched me in the face. My mom's cat has. They were mean to me, but all my cats, they tend to be very friendly. Okay. That's cute. Oh, let's see. Oh. What's that all about? Okay. That is working. Okay. Well, let's see what we got going on here. Okay. This is interesting. All right, let's try this. And there we go. We got that delay going on. All right. How many people do we have? Oh, now we're getting that nesting thing going on, so we're going to have to get out of there. That's an interesting effect. It's like looking in one mirror to the other. All right, let me get out of here. Okay. All right. Yeah, 3 hours. It's still going. But we don't have to go all that long. You know, it's, what can we do? I try to be here long enough so I can catch a little bit from everybody. Yep. Bill Knott just posted a video like a day ago. Check it out. He seems to be doing pretty well. It is? Mm-hmm. Black cats are unique, I have to admit. I don't know what it is about that, but I love black cats. Mm-hmm. Yeah, breakfast soon for me. And you'll notice that my little monster has fallen asleep. He's pushing up against me. He's sliding down the pillows. He's getting heavier. He's a pretty solid cat. I don't think there's any fat on this cat. He's just a lean, mean cat machine. He's like his owner. That's what my friend was saying. He looks like you. Oh, I think he looks a lot better than me, don't you? You are such a cute cat. Oh, you're so cute. Look at those claws. You're a cutie. He really is a nice cat. But you're going to fall down. And remember, in the early days, he would always attack the computer, knock me offline. But now, I think he just likes being with me. I notice that the more time he spends around me, the nicer he gets. There we go. That's it. A little better balance, that'll help. Okay. Let me see if, Okay. Wonder why that doesn't show up. I had another camera, but for some reason it doesn't show off. Okay. Anyway, let's see what we got. He got that right. He's a really nice cat. Turned into a real nice pet. Oh, I will. Don't you worry. I will take the afternoon off. I'm just here, glad to be here. You know, you notice the stream is a little different than usual, so that's good. Oh, absolutely. You know, like I said, the longer he becomes my cat, the more of a friend he's going to be. He's less trouble than he used to be. He used to be a big problem, but now he's a good kitty. So, and again, I don't know. I'm not really an expert with the OBS, but it hasn't crashed. For some reason, the other camera view is not working. I'll figure it out. It's like anything else, a little audio issue with the microphone. If I have to, I'll open up the computer and I'll cut off that internal mic so I don't have to listen to that. But I think in many ways, it's improving. You know, having the comments show up, I think is kind of nice. And since I don't have a lot of subscribers, I can just alternate back and forth. Even if I alternate scenes. In fact, I could put a different camera on a different scene. That would probably work. Okay. Pretty nice. Anyway, okay. Okay, that's interesting. There you go. Yeah. Have a great weekend, of course. Feel free to go out whenever you want. This is not school. You're not stuck here. That must be my cat. Yes, because it's not me. That's not going to happen. Okay. I'm going to uncover my workout equipment on my deck. It's not supposed to rain anymore in California. Well, there you go. That's great. Got to keep exercising. That's important. Unless you're me. I'm too lazy to exercise. Of course, I'm always working. So what else is new, right? But anyway, and as you can see, look at that little cuddle kitten. He's over there sleeping. Look at that. He's a sweet cat. Look at that face. Oh, he's a cutie. Look at his eyes are closed. Yes, he is. That's what I like. I like a friendly and lovable pet. And that's good. Okay. So anyway, what else do we have going on? Now, again, I'm sure you watch a lot of different channels. I'm sure that you share information between different channels. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It is a weekend. I'm off today. I have my friend's car out there. The power window quit working, so I changed the power window motor, and it worked fine. Now it stopped working again. And it's not the power window motor, because I checked it with a power from the battery, and it goes up and down. So probably what it is, either the switch or one of the connectors got damaged when the old motor shorted out. I did take the switch apart. It seemed to be okay. But I'll go out there with a test light and a meter, and I'll check that out. And as you mentioned, I need to fix my stove because I have no gas. If I can't fix the stove, I'll have to use a barbecue grill. Now, sadly, I melted my last barbecue grill because I put too much wood in it, and it melted the aluminum. So what I'll probably have to do, I'll use the other grill. I have a gas grill on the patio, and I think I may have some propane in it. I might do that. But I'm going to see if I can get my gas producing working. It's probably just a cockroach or something got into the line and blocked it. That's probably what it is. But it can't be that hard to do. So anyway, so let's see. In terms of what we have here, how many people do we have? Oh, let's see. Why doesn't it show the amount? That's the only thing I can't understand. Where does it show the amount of viewers? Oh well. Let's see. Let me get out of this one here. Get overlay URL. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Huh. Okay. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Let me try something here. Okay. Okay. Oh. I see what it is. All right, no problem. Let's see what we got. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Ah. All right. Okay. Oh well. Seems like that went down. Yeah, what can you do, right? Sometimes technical issues just kind of, but you can read all that anyway. Been averaging in the 30s. I'm going to on Poopy Goats and get some chaos in my morning. There you go. And they said there's supposed to be that interview at like noon. So, and I can't see how many people I have, but I'm sure it's probably decreased by now. I don't see as much activity. So what I'm going to do, I am hungry for breakfast since I haven't had any. I don't do the fasting thing, so I would rather have a delicious breakfast. And I'm just glad that so many people came here. I'm actually kind of impressed as to how many we did get. I don't know what the maximum view was. It doesn't show it, but do what I can. Let's see. Okay. I don't know why the comments stopped coming up. That's kind of interesting. But we'll see. Yeah, 40 something in the first hour, right? Okay. Well, anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Now, again, I appreciate everybody that was here. And I'll go ahead and wrap this up. I'll give you a few more minutes here. If anyone has anything they would like to ask, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, if you're here watching the replay, and I didn't bore you by now because I'm surprised anybody could watch a replay that long, go ahead and feel free. You can look at my link on YouTube and send me an email if you need to. And if not, wait until the next Saturday. We'll have another live. And also, every 2 weeks, I'm on the, Homesick Buckeye, Russ's channel. You'll see me there. And I do pop in every week, just towards the end. I don't like to hog up the chat. And a lot of times when you see me teamed up with other people, I don't talk that much. I limit it to certain size rants, and that's it. So it's kind of important to me to let everybody else do the speaking. I only talk when nobody else is talking. I'm only there basically to get the conversation going. So that's my plan. And again, I'm going to make a few changes here. I'm going to play around a little bit more of this. And let's see what else we have here. It says, see you next Saturday. That's good. All of our voices are important. Yes, they are. That's why I'm telling people, don't fall into the cult mentality. Don't just subscribe to the big channels. Do what I do. My rule is this. I don't subscribe to any channel that has more than 50,000 people unless I've been able to communicate with the person who has the channel. So if you see me on one of those larger channels, I either subscribed before they had that many people or I was able to communicate with them. And basically, it's just, that's the way I am. I think that everybody has something to say, and when you limit yourself to a few celebrities, you're basically destroying the options that you have otherwise if you're able to meet other people. Because my thing is this, I never understood the whole fascination with celebrities, that people have pictures of them and they think about them and they follow their life, because I tell them, these people don't know you exist and most likely wouldn't care about your life. So why do you waste your time on theirs? The only people I try to keep in contact with are the ones that I know, that I communicate with, or the ones that basically I live with. Now, let's see what we got here. See you next Saturday. Good. Our voice is important. I'll be your cat sitter. Ray Pete. I've seen a little bit of it, but I haven't really taken it that seriously. Do you feel like there are more rules and regulations, laws and taxes than there were in the 70s? Yes, there are. It's a lot more expensive to live here. There's a lot more rules and regulations. But see, that's what happens when you have a system that's breaking down. When the system is strong and it's able to sustain itself, it doesn't need you. But when the system starts to fall apart, when it starts to basically collapse under its own weight, it needs you to hold it up. So that's why they have all the rules and regulations and the laws and taxes. That's just to keep the system going, and that's it. The Quran teaches do not worship false idols. I can agree with that. Even the Bible says the same thing. You don't worship idols. That's why you don't want to be an idol. You don't want to be somebody that somebody worships. You can set an example for other people. That's kind of what Jesus did, isn't it? But every time somebody tried to worship him, what did he tell them? Don't do that. That's not something to do. So anyone that goes out there and follows celebrities and does all these things and sends them money and all that is basically worshiping a false idol. Because really, when it comes down to it, what's going to happen to all of us? One of the basic rules of my channel, ow, 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 ow. Okay. he was sliding off of the pillows, so I'm trying to reposition him. Oh, he's so cute. Look at that face. I'm going to have to give you a bath. Either that or put some diatomaceous earth on you. I haven't seen any fleas, but if I see fleas in my bed, you're getting a bath. And I'm going to wash you with soap. I'll probably get scratched in the process, but what can you do? You silly pet. But anyway, like I'm saying, it's very important that you don't use anybody else as sort of like the center of your life, because everyone has their own life to deal with. They have their own things to deal with. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's see. Right. Why is this pop out not working? This is what I want to know. I see something here. Something went wrong. Don't know what happened. But anyway. Okay. I visited Miami in 2007. There was a huge billboard on the Miami Herald building of that P. Diddy guy. Yeah, exactly. And even the Miami Herald building is gone because they were going to build condos there. I think right now it's just like a big canopy. So they tore down the building just to have a canopy there until they can sell it to the most expensive developer out there. Okay, for the benefits I can offer people from information, most cannot access these ridiculous 150. Yeah, right? Exactly. And everybody out there is trying to cash in on this. A lot of these people, you see, they go into the carnivore space, and the first thing they do, they set up their own club or consultation or whatever. Exactly. Hacks with streaming glitch up. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. I could try to restart it. Can't be that hard. Let me see. Okay. Oops. All right. Try it again. Oh my goodness. What is that? Thanks for being here to help me, because the only way to test this stuff is live. Okay. All right. Oh, Milton. Now he's got to sleep on my hand. He likes that. He loves to be as close as possible. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Whoops. Be careful, little guy. Don't fall down there. Crazy cat. Okay. Let's see. All right. It's working again. What do you know? Okay. Oh, my goodness. There we are. Okay. Here we go. I love authentic YouTubes without commercials. That's me. I think well, that's it. Because the thing is, in today, we can all be celebrities in our own way. We can be celebrities to ourselves, or we can be celebrities to our friends. And you know what? I think that's great. What I'd rather do, I'd rather meet the YouTubers. You know, instead of some overinflated celebrity, I would rather meet the people that I subscribe to on YouTube for years. Every one of you that I subscribe to is somebody I want to meet. I'm a local. Your neighborhood looks familiar. Okay. Do you live in Sweetwater? No, Sweetwater is north of me. I live in Westwood Lakes. Westwood Lakes. Between Horse Country and Miller Farms. So, but it is familiar, and I do go to Sweetwater. I have friends that live in that area, so I'm there all the time. That is correct. They're troubled, exactly. Oh, look. I love the warm ambience from your neon lights. I think it works. I do too. And I have neon all over the house. And if you don't know, I used to make my own neon lights. And I might do that again once I can find the equipment that I had and have a place to work. Same may be true with YouTubers. Yeah, you're right about that. Some of them do tend to burn out. That is correct. And I've had bike rides through FIU over there to where Little Abner Trailer Park is. That's going to be the next apartment complex. Sweetwater's very corrupt, so they've been getting paid off to build high-rises everywhere. Right? That's true. Most are wrecks. That's exactly. No, the Ditch Witch is still sitting there. I haven't done anything with it. It's still sitting there, slowly rusting away. Yes, and the thing is that a lot of times people that tend to be in the art or entertainment space, they tend to be mentally ill. I think that's part of the whole character of being artistic, and a lot of them just die out. You know, they're not like us regular people. I've never been high. I've never been drunk. Well, I can't say that entirely because I have been high by accident. You know, we did a prank when I was a kid. We used to spike the cigarettes with cannabis for the teachers. And, you know, that was one of those things. It was quite funny. And we used to put it in the popcorn when they had like a kind of a food party or whatever. I put cannabis oil in the popcorn. Everybody would act funny. I used to laugh at them. And one time I accidentally ingested the cannabis myself and got super high. So we also experimented with things like mushrooms. And again, I always thought it was funny watching people get high or messed up because it was like a science experiment. But when I ended up doing it myself by mistake, it scared me. And I got to the point where I didn't even mess with that stuff anymore because I was always afraid of what could happen. Okay. All right, let's see. Drugs? Is the trencher repairable? It might be. And the bar is there, but the bearing is no good. The teeth are still there. I actually have a spare chain. I'm going to try and see if I can fix it. Otherwise, it'll be a scrapper. But anyway. Okay. I'm leaving, so Rick has more impetus to take the afternoon off. Have a good one. Thanks again. Well, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for being here. As always, you're my number one supporter that I can see. So I'm always glad to see you. And again, if you're not watching the Carnivore Muscle channel, what's wrong with you? Even if you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, you can learn a lot from his channel. Let me tell you. Please, watch his channel. And most of his videos are short, so you don't have to waste a lot of time listening to a lot of crap. That's it. You want no-nonsense carnivore advice? Hit his channel. Yes. That's right. The Gables now. Oh, wow. Well, if you're local, you need to meet up sometime because if you might be the second carnivore in the Miami area. Okay. I don't know how you would get it. Shoot, if you live nearby, you could probably give it to you. But I don't know. It's probably a piece of junk. But yeah, that thing's been sitting there for a while. I'll probably never use it. So, yeah. In fact, like I said, if I have something that you can use that I'm not using, I'll just give it to you. I don't care. Okay. Quack, quack. I agree. Neon is a blues light that we free on others. Well, I may have to make videos about how neon and cold cathode lighting works because I've actually used different gases. Neon produces a red glow, argon produces a blue glow, helium produces a yellow glow. It's one of the things about my channel compared to the other channels. It's not just a carnivore channel. It's not even just a homesteading channel. It's sort of like a tech channel, a carnivore channel, a nostalgia channel, an architecture channel. There's all these things mixed together because unlike most people my age, I know a lot. And of course, I've done a lot of different things. So I have a lot of interesting experiences, and I'm glad that I'm here on YouTube, that I can actually share it with you. So anyway, that's great, you know. But yeah, I'll have to make some videos on that old trencher. I got to get my friend's car fixed. And of course, I'm spending my time here doing nothing, craving some heart attack chicken, and wanting to go outside. Now, I did go outside. I get up in the morning. I get up at 7, actually, on Saturday, and I go outside. I was getting set up for this live stream, and then I watch the sunrise. Now, I know a lot of people talk about how long it takes to do a live stream, but for me, it's very easy. The only reason I was trying to gather up these files to show you, and then at the same time, you know, I went outside for a little bit. I watched the sunrise for a few minutes, and then I came back. So that's what it was. And again, let me see here. Okay. I'm sure that some of you saw if you weren't here earlier, some of the videos that I had. Okay. There you go. And again, if you didn't see any of them, I'll show you a couple before I leave, you know, and here's an example of the kind of house that I would like to build. There you go. Open in the center, you know. Mine would be single story though. I don't like 2-story homes, but I go with the single story. Have a nice carport for the cars, separate garage, lots of trees, that kind of thing. Notice these homes are not that big. So I hate gigantic houses. It's just not my thing. Let's see what else we got here. Huh. And by the way, Carroll City is a real dump now, but when they first opened it up, you can see it was more expensive than it was down here. That neighborhood now is what they call Miami Gardens, or I call it, you know, Glock Gardens, because there's so many shootings. So what may be fancy one day may be garbage the next day. What else do we have? This is how a lot of this area used to look. Now you couldn't find a pine tree if you were looking as hard as you could. I miss the old Florida. It'll never come back. And people used to say it was ugly because of all the advertising. You can see pretty much what it looked like. But I don't think that's ugly. You go there at night, it was really neat. All that neon flashing. It was like a miniature Las Vegas. Okay, let's see. They had some interesting names too. They had Academy Award homes in Miramar Isles. Look at that. Academy Award. The Versailles. Starting at $19,490. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Not bad. cute little house. Actually, this is higher end. You can see this is probably 60s because it's got that 60s style. And fake shutters. I mean, they were nice. You could get something relatively good price, and you notice they never use the word luxury or elevated, ever. No. And they give you the list of the features. Yeah, this is definitely 60s because it has aluminum ceiling. So you can see the price did go up, but still, not a lot of money. 30-year mortgage. But yeah, it's nice when you can look back. This is where my friend used to live. My parents used to own a couple of rental homes down here. South Miami Heights. There it is. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, $8,400. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, $9,600. 1.5 bath, and 4 bedrooms with 1.5 bath. Now, you notice back then they didn't have really big bathrooms. They didn't have a lot of bathrooms because in the old days people didn't poop as much. That's what I was told. But when you started eating all that duck food, now you become like a duck. You're waddling and quacking all the time. So you're going to be pooping a lot. Plus, you're probably constipated. So everybody needs their own bathroom to sit in there and spend half an hour trying to poop. But anyway, see, all these features. I mean, it's just amazing what you could get. Look at that. And those were nice little houses. Very nice. But they never had more than 1.5 bathrooms. And my parents owned a couple of them, and I remember that the one bathroom, it didn't have a tub in it. The other one was a full bathroom. So that was true. And it's nice that we've been able to find these documents thanks to the internet. And some of these documents I have in my own file. In fact, I have the original documents for this house that nobody else has posted online. I posted it online years ago, but it got deleted. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway. And by the way, if you grew up in Miami, you probably remember the Seaquarium, which they're going to turn into condos. It's only a matter of time. This was the monorail they used to have. I remember that as a kid. They took it out sometime in the 80s. Definitely had that kind of 50s, 60s look to it. And look at it back then, the old cars. Everything back then just seemed to be cleaner and skies were bluer, you know. Today the skies are kind of white, I guess with all the pollution. But it's sad what they did to this area. They've totally destroyed it. Like, how in the world do you wreck a place as nice as South Florida? Well, you load it up with a bunch of people that you don't really need. And here's an example of the kind of motels we used to have. There's the old Driftwood. And the dunes and all that. They've all been replaced by overpriced high-rises and sunny isles. It's a really depressing place now. And, you know, we had a lot of interesting shopping centers and everything like that. As a kid, you know, downtown Miami, it wasn't bad. There's an old picture of downtown Miami. See how they had all the air conditioners sticking out? Because back in the old days, when they built these buildings, there was no air conditioning. So they'd put these room air conditioners sticking out of the window so that people would sleep at night. It's impossible to live here year-round without air conditioning. It is impossible. Old Dadeland Mall. Dadeland Mall doesn't look anything like this now. They used to have this seahorse thing. It's gone. All these lights, they're gone. Everything that was unique about that place is gone. And now it's just crap. I mean, they did have the little kiosks in the middle. But I remember this as a kid. It's a shame they get rid of anything. If it's unique, it's got to go. Once the corporations take over. What is this? Oh, yeah. That's an old picture of the airport. I wasn't around back then, but still. Just a different world. This is what the inside of Publix used to look like. They had the bakery. You could see they used to have a ceiling in there back then. It wasn't just black metal. And the floors. Publix always had these terrazzo floors with stripes in them. What is that? That's the one I showed before, the restaurant. I have a lot more pictures. I'm going to organize these and name them in a way that actually makes sense. We used to have gas stations that looked like this. That was near downtown. It had this big overhang sticking out. Gulf gas station. That's pretty neat. Okay. What else? What else? What else? That's what it used to look like by the airport. It's interesting. I guess that must have been in the 50s. Everything was so nice back then. You could still see the airport hotel. I think that building is still there, but it's surrounded by the airport, which is just a horrible mess now. But, yep. And again, for those of you in Miami, this is where I live. Westwood Lake. There you go. By the way, the Mohawk, that was the two first letters of the phone number we had here. That was up until 1963, and then they changed it to 271. Everything was 305 back then. So, yep. Oh, what is this? Okay. I'm not sure. That must have been in the 1980s or something like that. 70s or 80s. You can see, you don't see too many fat people there. Interesting. Okay. What is this? Huh. Forest Hill Village. What a nice little house. Got your jalousie windows. Got that. Oh, that looks good. You'll enjoy the heavy stand of pines and other trees growing in high, dry land. Wow. Here we go. CBS Construction. All plaster interior and exterior walls. Interior walls for light, airy kitchen with custom-built cabinets. And look at this. Colored bathroom fixtures. Full tile shower. 30-gallon gas water heater. Wall heater. Washing machine connections and drain. You don't see this kind of stuff mentioned in any new homes now. That's nice. Whoever scanned it, though, they should have flattened it out. I guess they just took a picture of it, but very nice. Why can't we get this anymore? Because big corporations and the central bankers want to make sure that we're in debt for a bunch of crap. That's all it is. I keep a collection. I got some family photos as well that show this area, and I have some home movies I need to transfer into videos. Then people post pictures like this. I think this is pretty interesting. Anyone else still have no tattoos? Fort Lauderdale Beach, 1980s. You got your typical blonde-haired guy with his gal pals and no tattoos. That's good. Really nice. Not that I'm saying that it's bad to get tattoos. I think it kind of detracts from the look. What is this? Oh, yeah, that was another restaurant they had in the 80s. Ah! This is the place I remember growing up. Now, if you've never heard of the Sweden House, first of all, it's a smorgasbord. You can eat whatever you want. This is what the interior looked like. You see the paneling, ceiling tiles, fake beams. Reminds me of my own house. Look at that. But, look at the sign. Think about it. Lunch for $1.20. Dinner for $2.25. What a deal, right? That was back in the 70s. In the 80s, it was a little more, but and they put all you care to eat. I love going to that place. And you see over here, see where this guy has the hat on? What do you see right here, this big old lump? You know what that is? That's a roast beef. When I would go here as a kid, I was probably about this high. I would stand there, barely put my hands up there, and the guy would give me the beef, and I always liked that. They also had fried chicken in here, and sometimes they had frog legs. I love this place. If I ever made another restaurant, I'd probably make it look like this. Getting the materials would be a little tricky, but I could do it. Some wood paneling, some brick ceiling tiles. They got a fake well. There's actually, the one building is still there, but it doesn't look anything like this anymore. You had the little wood shingles here. They had this waterfall where you could throw money in there. Sweden House. I love that place. Anyway. Okay. Let me check the comments and see if anyone's still here. If I haven't gone offline or they put me out there. Let's see. Okay. Close that. Oh, where'd my chat go? Here it is. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I'm not carnivore. Well, that's it. And again, I tell everybody, you don't have to be carnivore. Not all of us humans are not carnivores. Oh, Rick, how can you say that? You've been a carnivore your whole life. We're not carnivores. We're omnivores. There's a difference. People have lived very long lives on a plant-based diet. Maybe they haven't optimized themselves. And like anything else, everybody promotes the extremes. But the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. You know, if you've ever tuned an engine, you can tune it for high RPM, you can go fast, or you can have it more for low-end torque. But there's always that sweet spot in the middle. You want to make it so you have a little of both. Okay? Raw honeycomb, skim milk. There you go. I know Cafe Bustelo is real popular here. So you know about physics? I know a little bit. I'm sort of an amateur physicist. The second law of thermodynamics is what I use as a standard to judge everything. Yeah, Murder Gardens, Miami Gardens, yeah, same thing. That place was, it's gone downhill. They're so American. Yes, but that's why we used to be number one in the world. We're not anymore. This country's a joke now. Yeah, the magic is gone, exactly. It's become corporatized. World became brutal, that's right. But the real world isn't that bad. See? 900 square feet. She has 2 roommates. Used to be bad. They're stuffing them in there. That's the whole idea. I wouldn't want to live like that. You can make your breakfast do live stream. Yeah, I could if I could get a wireless device that wouldn't crash on me. I wasn't born in time for Sweden House. Feast and get plastered. Well, that's true. I remember Sweden House and Woves. Yes. I also remember the one that was called Wags. It was a Walgreens restaurant. This country's coming back bigly. No, it's not. We're circling the drain. I think it's going to take a major collapse for it to come back. It's like ancient Rome. We're slowly deteriorating. And that's a shame, because it doesn't have to be that way. The thing is, the system, which I believe is basically satanic, even the Bible says that it's run by the devil. It's up to us to find our own way around the system. You want to be in the world, but not part of the world. That would be the sweet spot, in my opinion. And we can do that. All we have to do is get to know each other and give each other a hand when needed and be a source of inspiration. And we can turn this around in our own life. Because remember, sooner or later, the heart attack's coming. You're going to kick the bucket, and it's somebody else's problem. So the thing to do while you're here, and for the people that, we're all kind of influencers to somebody. You have kids, you have relatives, you have friends. I know in my case, a lot of my friends call me when they have a problem or they need advice. And that's fine. That's normal. That's a good thing. So be the example that you want others to follow. Otherwise, they're going to follow the influencers, the celebrities, and all the other people that are going to lead them off a cliff. Because again, if you follow celebrities, if you put your trust in another person, they will always let you down, always. They will never not let you down. That's just the way it is. There is nobody out there, because the problem is this. How many people can you actually interact with on a regular basis? If I had 300,000 or 1 million people on my YouTube channel, you think I could do this? No. The comments would be scrolling by like crazy. I'd have to hire people. Of course, I'd be making money from it, but I'd have to hire people to do the comments. And I'd never get to see any of these people now. If I went out in public, I'm sure people would be saying hi or whatever. But then I'd have to worry about the wacky people as well. So, that is an issue. But anyway, okay. What about all the government being converted to AI and a full digital currency? Well, that is a problem. But again, if we don't support it, it will fail, because AI, like all things that humans create, are subject to entropy. Just like if you build a brand new house and you never maintain it, it will simply crumble into dust. So if we can disconnect from the system and use their money as little as possible, my rule is this: only use their money to pay their taxes. Get everything else off their grid. That's the secret. And the thing is, AI has a weakness, and you know what that is? Energy. Entropy will destroy it. So if you want to take down AI, you could just take down the power grid. It's not that hard to do. If people really get to the point where AI is ruining their lives and they still have enough knowledge, they could take it down. It's like if you have a machine that's out of control, electric drill or whatever, you just pull the plug and that's it. But my grandfather loved Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips and Long John Silver's. It was the only place he would eat out. Yeah. Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips, they had one down south. I remember that. It was an interesting looking place. It had wood shingles on the side, and it had a sign that looked like a lantern. And it tasted good when I was a kid. It was probably unhealthy, but it did taste good. Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips was very flavorful. Long John Silver's, not so much. But I thought Long John Silver's was cute. There's actually an abandoned Long John Silver's on the way to the Keys. I just saw it on the news when they had the brush fire. But, yep, that's an interesting place. AI, yep. Most will not disconnect, sadly, my good ideas. Yeah, I agree. Most will not disconnect. But the thing is, not everybody has to. I think it only takes somewhere between 10 and 15% of people to disconnect from the system, because the problem is the vast majority of people are not net producers. So it's like that goofy lady Ayn Rand with her Atlas Shrugged book. If the productive people disconnect, the system will collapse, because it needs productive people to feed on. All parasites need a host. And if the host dies, or if the host is out of reach, the parasites will die. That's just the way it is. So it's like I had a vine growing up my tree. When I cut the root, the entire vine died. That's just the way it is. So anyway, it's almost noon. It'll be almost 4 hours. And we've had some good comments. I hope you like having the comments displayed like that, because at least it gives you the opportunity to see what others are saying. I don't have to read the comments outright. And I'll try to figure out if I can get this to work at the bottom of the display like I did before. I think probably when the live stream starts, you can't change the settings. So I'll have to experiment with it a little more. But, we'll try to make improvements little by little, week by week. If you want to take the time and watch, you don't have to watch the entire stream. What I recommend is come on in for what you can. If it's 5-10 minutes, whatever. Leave a comment, leave a like, and that's it. And then I'll try to keep you interested. Now, I notice there's several things I want to cover. One, I guess, will be that trencher and, the making soap and cooking and all these other things. I'm going to try to make some more videos, try to keep you interested. I don't want to become stale. I've always been sort of a trendsetter. People have always told me, Rick, you're always the one that comes up with trends that eventually grow. The problem is I usually get out of the trend before it becomes a meme. But I'm thinking at this point, while I'm here, till I have my heart attack, I'm definitely going to try to share my life more and more. And you can criticize me if you like. You can leave comments if you like. The vast majority of comments I get are complimentary. They are not derogatory. I get a few derogatory comments occasionally, but a surprisingly small amount. Some of the other channels I interact with, they show me some of the nasty comments they get, and it really is quite shocking that someone would waste their time and do that. I just don't understand it. But anyway, now let me just minimize this a little bit, and let me go over here to the other window if I can find it. Where is that? Here it is. Okay, and it'll probably start nesting once it does that. This is an interesting effect. How many people do we have? We have... It doesn't say. Oh, 28 watching. We had 38 likes. So we haven't had as much likes as we used to. I guess people are getting bored with me. But anyway, that's pretty good. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And I'm hoping that those of you that are still here, as this one comment says here, if I can get it up in there, and it says, 41 likes. Okay, I guess that was our maximum. That's good. It's less, not like it used to be. And again, my channel is never going to be one of the popular ones because I'm not that type of person. You're never going to see me in the 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 range. Like I said, it would be a miracle if I made it to 4,000 by the end of the year. But it really doesn't matter since I get no money from YouTube. This is just time that I donated to try and meet people. And again, if you're one of those people that's local, why don't you contact me, see what we can get together or something. But anyway, I'm glad you were here, and I'm glad you liked the upgrades. And again, I'm working on it. I'm trying to do it from my budget, which is basically, well, what is my budget for upgrades? It's very, very simple. This is my budget. If it costs any more than this, then I am not going to do it. And I'm going to show you something that I've actually, let me give you an illustration. I'll be right back. Okay. Open this up. All right. In 17 years on YouTube, this is more money than I've made. All right, there you go. I'm sure you know what this is. This is more money than I've ever made on YouTube. And that's it. So again, I'll do what I can with what I have. Somebody gives me something or I find something, that's great. So, let's go ahead and we will end this. And eventually I'm going to try to make some kind of an intro and an outro. And if I can find a way to get some open source music, I'll do that. I've had some suggestions for a 60s style intro, and I'll definitely do that. It's just a matter of time. And again, between my work and between the things I have to do, I'll be here. So have a great day, everyone, and I'll catch you next.